One up and coming. We're here in the beautiful Italian circuit in Imola. 2 hours to decide your driver's champions between the guy who's currently sitting P1 in your qualifying sessions, VRA John in the black, white, and red McLaren livery. He's trying to chase down and hope that this guy right here, who's sitting 9th in the pit lane, has a bad day today. BRL Skeppy leads your championship by quite a sizable margin. It's going to take a John win and a Skeppy 8th for John to even tie in the standings. But it is possible, as we have 15 cars there on the grid today. I'm joined, for once, with a co-com. I've got everyone's favorite head admin. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, that's very kind, but I highly doubt that I'm anyone's favorite. I am Hank Hetrop in the booth with Axe this time for the finale of the ACC Season 2.
Yeah, I'll pull up our division standings real quickly, and I'll run them down as we've still got a little bit in qualifying. Then we've got ourselves quite a long one ahead of us in the race. So we're going to be here for a long time tonight, but hopefully we'll have some good battles up and down the field. 9 points is the gap from first to second between BRL Skeppy and John. Behind them, it's by Juggernog, who is sitting third place in this quali session. Feta Cheese put himself in second with a good effort so far. Jug not really in contention. He's 9 points off of John. Another 9 points off of Jug, so each interval seems to be exactly the same so far. Stolowski, he is sitting 7th at the moment in the McLaren. And then running at your top 5 in the point standings is Calzoner, who is currently sitting in 5th. Same position in points. Ichigo in 6th. Phantom 7th is not here today. Prince in 8th. Also not here today. Neymar 9th, trying to challenge for 6th in the standings. Keep an eye on that in the beautiful pink Aston Martin. Butch Giblet sitting in 10th. Raz sitting 11th. Carnival 12th. Deer Hunter 13th. Bowen 14th. Fluky 4 15th. Heatwave, D-Jock, Saxman, Tez, Big Will, and then the rest of the field. We've got Feta Cheese has never scored points. He's going to be going for some today. Aiden is not anywhere on the standings, so I assume he's going for his first points today. Gucci Lucci and Gert as well have joined, as well as Redeemer, so they're all looking to put up a fight today. And at their starts, hopefully we don't see them get too involved in the championship implication battle, but you got to battle the championship leaders at some point in the race, because they will be around you. There's no doubt in that.
Yep, it's going to be quite the race indeed. Depending on track position, it's going to be one major thing in Imola. Here in Emilia-Romagna, it's an anti-clockwise circuit, 4.8 kilometers, about 3 miles, 19 turns. And there's a couple close overtaking spots you could definitely use, like the first 2 chicanes, Tamburello, Villeneuve. Tosa could be a good overtaking opportunity, but you got to watch out through Variante Alta, and maybe even down in Ravazza for some overtaking. So that's going to be something you got to guys like Skeppy at the moment, who hasn't set his qualifying lap, but these guys who did not get a good qualifying lap in this time have to make sure they can overtake somewhere in the race. But track position is going to be key.
Yeah, absolutely, it's going to be key. And although it is a long race, it's not as easy to pass around here as you would think. It's quite a tight track, even though you're on these slower GT cars. It's not like where you see an F1, where it's going to be high speed the entire time, dirty air flowing. These cars, it's a little bit easier, but at the same time, they're still wide cars, and it's difficult to get that thing slowed down for a lot of these corners. And when you've got a car behind you, sometimes you have a car behind you, in front of you. It gets crazy in the mid-pack in these races. It's difficult to spot all these braking points, so it'll be interesting to see how everyone manages it, especially today. You're going to have to manage your fuel and tires more than ever today with the long race. I've heard some different strategies talking to a couple of the drivers earlier today. We'll see how it all plays out for everybody. I know one driver in particular. I won't give away his strategy on stream just yet. Maybe I'll give it away towards the middle of the race, and you'll see it start to play out. But yeah, there's going to be a bunch of different strategies today, especially with refueling. We haven't seen that yet this season, and I think it's going to make a big factor in today's race.
Yep, it's going to be a huge factor is who can try to and stretch the strategy the best and possibly to their liking. Fuel, obviously, in an endurance race, especially of this nature with 2 hours, is going to be a major fuel load. So the car will be heavier, the car will be more, I guess, unstable, and it's going to be harder to drive. So if you can try to use that fuel to your advantage, save as much fuel in that first stint, and maybe you can try to take a lighter fuel load into the second stint, that's going to be beneficial for you, but you also have to watch out for the tires. You have to watch out for the changing conditions of the track. The air temperature right now is 24 degrees Celsius, but it may not be that way a little bit later on. So it's going to be a major thing for these guys to play out for, as we see Jug kind of taking the an alternate line through Minerali there, but he's going. I mean, it's going to be a very different. It's going to be a very different race than these guys are probably used to as of late. But it's going to be 1-1 to send him off for 2 hours around Imola.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because some of these guys will be looking long game. They'll be putting a lot of fuel in for the start stints. They'll be trying to get lighter car towards the end, track down people if that's their forte. But some you might see put in very low fuel at this start, try and gun away from the pack, hope there's no safety car, and just drive the best they can out in clean air. We'll see who decides to do what. It's going to be interesting to watch that. And tires as well. We haven't seen that much tire drop off. Britain, I think, was really our only example of bad tire drop off towards the end of that race because we had that lap 2 safety car there. So it's going to be different now because it's a 2 mandatory stop race. You have to make 2 stops today. But tires don't go much longer than really an hour, 10 minutes or so. So if you get some safety cars early and you want to try and stretch your fuel out, stretch those tires out for an hour and a half, it's going to be difficult today.
It's going to be very difficult indeed, but the strategy is going to be all to play for. It's going to be what makes or breaks the race, so these guys have to get it right. What I have noticed, and I mean, I'm not going to say it's too early, we still have about 16 minutes left in qualifying, but Skeppy's been out pretty much behind Deer Hunter in traffic and has not yet to get a good lap in so far, sitting P12. But, I mean, the championship leader is going to have a lot to play for if he gets that qualifying a little bit off. But John on the pole provisionally with the 42.4, that's right now the benchmark. So if Skeppy can get up near John, even if it's P6 or something, as long as it's not P8 and he can hold on to that championship position, which he needs to win the championship today, it can all be down to play for him. But John has a lot to play for too. But it's not always going to be up to you as the driver and trying to chase down the championship leader like Skeppy and John is right now. But it also plays in turn with everyone else. Like Skeppy has to go battling around the guys like Calzone, DXD, Aiden, Stowe, Jug, Feta, Gert, Jeemer, like all these guys down here. And sometimes it's not your own fault if things happen, and it's going to be 2 hours, so it's going to be mistakes going to happen, come and go. Drivers are going to come and go, and it's going to be a lot to play for today, like you said. And it's going to be who can take advantage of this long endurance race the best, and qualifying is where it sets up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be all to play for, as we've said multiple times now. Yeah, even with, we're keeping an eye on our championship battle, John, and then Skeppy, who's put himself up to 4th place now with his lap. So solid so far from him. He's 0.6 off of John's benchmark, who has just improved again to a 42.4. That is a quick lap. I assume we're going to see maybe a 41 come out if someone absolutely nails the lap. I know most of those guys are in that 42, 43 range. You can see it. Down to about Deer Hunter, 1.5 seconds is that chunk of drivers. So quite close towards the middle of the pack. Neymar, Gucci, and Gert and Redeemer all a bit off at the moment. Fluky, Carnival, and Bowen, no laps done yet. We'll see where they fall into place.
Well, one major talking point, though, is this track especially is one that you either hate or love, as I can see actually in the comment section of the stream, that some drivers are not very to the liking of this track, some do not enjoy it at all. The ones that do enjoy it are probably going to be the ones more successful around here in Imola, so we got to keep an eye on that, who can get that rhythm down pretty quickly. Almost 17 drivers in the grid this time today.
Yeah, it's an action-packed grid, and 8 drivers only score points, so these guys are going to be fighting for not much, really. There's not many people who are going to score today compared to how many drivers we have. Usually we see most of the grid score. Usually we have about 10, 11 people here, but 17 for the finale. I believe Taylor is going to be our safety car for tonight, so it'll be 16 as he's doing donuts in the beautiful gold-wrapped Lamborghini in the pit lane.
Well, it's good to have some fun, because being the safety car is no easy task, especially because, I mean, especially in these 2-hour-long races, you're going to be in the pit lane, especially if you're Taylor, so you're not going to have a lot of action. So at least he's making the best spirit of it. But these drivers are going to have to make the best spirit of their action and their car and the track, because they're going to have a long 2 hours of the race to get that down.
Riding on board Skeppy at the moment, about halfway through his lap. He's even with his 42 point. Sorry, that'd be a 43.1. His best is 42.9, but that must have been invalidated somewhere on that lap. So he's currently looking to improve. I think he's got some time through this section here. Yes, he does. He's found about a 10th and a half. He's going to lose a little bit as he doesn't get the best run out of the corner, but now through this chicane, nobody likes this chicane. Those high yellow sausage curves really unsettle that race car, but Skeppy's managed it really well. It looks like he got really off balance last lap, and now he's gained about 0.4 of a second here now, coming to the 2 final corners here.
Yeah, through at Ravazza, it's going to be a very big thing if you can get the run off the corner and for the line here.
Stays about even with his previous time, so looks good out of there. It's going to be a almost 5/10 improvement from Skeppy. It'll put him up into second place, just behind his championship rival. So,
looking at the data sheets,
on
the time though, with Skeppy being about a 10th, almost 2 tenths off of it, he still is not purple in any sectors. John is purple in all 3 sectors so far. He's about a little bit under, half a tenth faster in the first sector, about 2 tenths faster in the second sector, but Skeppy is like a couple tenths off in the third sector, so that's probably where all this time comes from in the final 2 sectors, so it's going to be a lot of ground to get up on those final 2. John had a very quick opening lap.
Yeah, he's come out of the gate flying. I know he did a lot of practice and prep for this one. He knows he has to go out and win this race if he wants any chance, really. And he's going to need a bit of luck with Skeppy getting involved behind. Jug has put himself up into 3rd, passing Feta. Those swap positions on the second row of the grid. Stolowski is currently, I believe, on a lap. Yeah, he's about a 10th and a half down, though. And probably not an improvement this time. Let's see if he goes for another lap next time. Does look like he is going to push for another flyer right here. About 10 minutes to go left in quali, and then we've got the race ahead. So even though quali does mean a lot, especially if you're in the midfield of the 17 car grid, it's not the end of the world if you're going to be stuck a little further back than you'd expect, because you do have a long race to try and get that consistency down. Stolowski pops the curb, and he's spun out. Never mind, that was lag. He's fine. Coming through the hairpin and getting nice on the power. Make sure you don't enable the traction too much through there, otherwise you're going to be losing time on the exit. It looks like he did lose some time, invalidated his time somewhere on that lap. He's going to be this time.
I do want to point out one thing. If you could look to the little track map on the bottom right, we have a little bit of a traffic jam going up all the way from Miriante Alta down all the way even to Tosa. But look at the one person who's on the complete opposite side of the track as everyone is Jug. He's in complete clear air. So if he can get this track and this lap nailed down, he could be on the door. Actually, Skeppy got past John 42.2, so he's now provisional pole.
So he's got that Audi up to the top step in qualifying. Is that I'm just gonna stop speaking. What to come this evening between those two, first and second. Jug, I think, he's going to be trying to win the race today. He's said that multiple times already. He knows he's really out. He's out of the fight for P1. If John has a bad day, he can pass for second place in the standings. But yeah, not exactly the most exciting stuff in the world for Jug to fight over. Oh, he invalidates, runs wide at the chicane. That'll be that lap done. We'll see if he decides to back off here, as you can see the mini map in the corner. His car is on the other side of that straight, so clean air not easy to come by for a lot of these guys at the moment.
Let's go back to the timetables real quick. If I can point out, Scappy did get purple in Sector 1 with a 21.8, which is about a tenth faster than John, and about 2 tenths faster than Jug. But Jug fights back in the middle sector, has the fastest middle sector, and by about 0.02 of a second over John. Scappy is about maybe half a tenth or so off the pace of the McLaren and the Ferrari, respectively. But John also has the purple final sector by about 3 tenths. Both Scappy and Jug are doing about 47.7s. John's doing a 47.4, so that is going to be a big talking point for Scappy and Jug to try to get and nail that final sector, which is basically Ravazza, and I believe after Variante Alta.
Correct, yeah, and that's really down to the cars, really. That's 3 different cars for the top 3, Audi, McLaren, Ferrari. You can see all 3 have different best sectors. Middle sector, they're all pretty much dead even, I would say, about half a tenth separating them. Skeppy through the first sector is much better because he can abuse those yellow sausage curbs in turns 1 through 3. The McLaren, I know, cannot. Jug, I'm not sure. I don't think he can either. So he's going to gain some time, is Skeppy through there. But that final sector, that 3 tenths from John, those final 2 corners, they have to be so nice in that McLaren, because there is no inside curb to really get worried about there. You just kind of have to flow the car through and get the punchy exit on the straight. And John, he's mastered that better than anyone else in the field, obviously, and he's better by about 3 tenths of a second through about like 5 corners.
It's going to be, I mean, you've seen throughout the season, the cars definitely can determine your success at a track. It can also determine how well you do at the next track. Well, there's no more being the next track. This is the final race. It's going to be on the line here, 2 hours, like we've been countlessly repeating. But it's also going to kind of push the limits of that said car to its limit as well, with the endurance. Is there a yellow flag going through the final sector as DXC lets by Scappy to probably go on to another flying lap. But the 2 hours is going to be a big ask for a lot of these drivers, a lot of these cars, and their strength and weakness is going to be on full display whenever they have the full fuel load. So like you said, how the Audi could probably take a lot more curb through in Villeneuve and Tamburello, it could possibly turn out to be a huge gamble to take those curbs in the race, but you can do it in qualifying. So we'll see how that can play out. Meanwhile, in the final sector, how you saw that John is about 3 tenths faster or so, and that McLaren going through Variante Alta and Ravazza, well, that's still, Scappy a little wide and actually off the track a bit, going through, I believe that is, that's Tamburello. But that can also play a big role as how well can that be in the race. Is John's final sector going to be hard to beat in the 2 hours? I got to figure that one out, but still with 5 minutes left in qualifying, it's now or never for these guys to get their laps in.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to go, because John's got to be great through those final 2 corners, and he's going to get a great exit onto this main straight every time. Does Skeppy have the straight line speed to even challenge in the race? It's all car preference and how much you can take. You can see John coming through turns 1 through 3 now. He does not elect to touch those yellow sausages on the inside curb, and he only uses the red, white, and green strips of curb. He pops that one bad, and that's going to be that lap done and dusted. You can see how badly the McLaren reacted to that yellow curb on the inside. And yeah, that's going to be the name of the game around here, because there's so many corners like that where if you risk it with those yellow curbs, it could mean lap time, but could it mean under 4 damage? Could it mean a run into the gravel, the grass? It's risk versus reward for a lot of these guys in these cars.
Well, another thing that we actually haven't really spoke much about is, yes, we may have all these risk rewards and all the cars and the lap time, but this isn't qualifying by yourself. There's going to be 16 other cars on the track, not counting the safety car, actually counting the safety car. So about 15 actual drivers on the track for these 2 hours. So you can have a good lap in now, like Skeppy, John, Jug, or Feta, or any guys in the top 5 right now within a second of each other, or maybe even Aiden, who's about 11 milliseconds off of that second gap. But how are these cars going to react with full fuel load and with a bunch of cars around them? Mistakes can be made with everyone else around you racing. So you can do lap time, but can you do that consistently enough surrounded by other cars? That's going to be one thing to look out for these 2 hours. That is quite going to be different from qualifying. Sure, it's important, and sure, it's hard to pass here, but can you keep it up to those 2 hours?
Yeah, and even traffic and qualifying at the moment is it's quite bad, as some of these guys are getting out there for their final runs. A lot of the guys have clean air, they found their space on the racetrack, but behind Skeppy right now there's about 3 cars, all within, I would say, about 5 seconds of each other, and they're going to need to sort it out quickly because they're coming up to the final section of this racetrack, and, well, there's not much time left either. I think some of these guys were hopeful in trying to get 2 laps in. I'm not sure if all of them will.
It's going to be tight, but look at this pack going through Variante Alta down into Ravazza, going into turn, I believe, 16 right now. Skeppy and John are both there. Skeppy now lets all of them through, trying to get the clean air, because he was actually leading that train of about 4 or 5 cars going into 16 into Ravazza. He lets them by trying to get the clean air, but John is in that train. He is about the 3rd car in line or so. Actually, he's the 2nd one. He has found a little bit of clean air. Lamar backs off behind him, but these are going to be the laps that count, 2 minutes. Which is about just enough time for this 1 lap they need. They could be close for the 2nd lap. How much could Skeppy do it, though? He crosses the line with about 1 minute and 53, so he has about 9 seconds of leeway.
Yeah, that means no mistake on the 1st lap if you want to get the 2nd one in even, so he can't run off the racetrack. John stays about even through the 1st section of this racetrack. We'll see how he goes. Doesn't take any of the yellow. Stays it on the green and white curbs, and he's dead even heading to the hairpin.
That may be it. Skeppy went wide through Villeneuve into the gravel, hit the curb on the inside. He may be fine. He could have those 9 seconds of leeway to help him, but it could be over for the Audi. Yeah, he's stopping. I believe that is it for the Audi. Skeppy's done.
It's going to be it from Skep, so you guys have in channel points putting on either him or the fields.
And through, that is through Minerali, DXD, who actually put himself up to 3rd place not too long ago. He went way too wide, went off the gravel into the gravel trap. He kept going. He could be okay for another lap if he wants to, but this lap, who looked like it was actually going a little bit faster before that time, has now been invalidated and off the charts. Behind him, though, is John. Can he to improve with his lap?
He's about half a tenth down heading to Ravazza. It's gonna be close. I don't know how much time he's got. He brakes way later than last time, but he's not gonna be able to carry the speed through the middle of the corners. Can he get the punchy exit out? It's not gonna be an improvement in his 1st lap. He's gonna have to go again if he even has the fuel in the car to do so. Quality's over, actually. He's not gonna be able to get there in time.
Yep, checkered flag. That means Skeppy has it. That's a huge crash behind, actually. DXD crashes through turn 1 after the flag, so his can be done. Jug, can he improve a bit? He's going through Tosa. He has enough time to go and complete this lap. He needs about 4/10 or so to get provisional pole. Feta's done. Checkered flag for him. Same with Stowe. And 10th on down, excluding Redeemer, is also done as well.
Yeah, all these guys pretty much done. It's going to be up to Jug if he kept it valid there. Deer Hunter as well has a shot at improving up, maybe ahead of Calzone if he gets a solid lap in. Maybe can jump Stolowski, who's sitting 7th. But really, we're looking to see if Jug can get himself ahead of McLaren DXD Ichigo, or if he even can split your 2 championship rivals here.
Well, this is where the Ferrari seemed to be a little bit lacking compared to Skeppy the last time when he did his flyer lap. So this is where the sector that Jug really needs to be on it. This Ferrari needs to have every inch of track to its advantage, and can he do it through 2nd Ravazza? Now he's going to be onto the line.
Up to the line. Don't have a delta, so unfortunately can't tell you how good that lap was. We'll see as he crosses the line. Will it be an improvement?
It does.
It will, but it's not enough to get onto the front row of the grid. He'll jump Ichigo, won't split John and Skeppy, so they'll start side by side for your final race of the season. Skeppy will hold on to take pole. Taco's going to get his channel points. John will start second, Jug third, Ichigo fourth, rounding out the top 5. Feta Cheese in a solid quality performance. We'll see if that carries over into the race. 8 and 6. I was doing some laps with him earlier, so nice to see him in the top 6. Makes me feel a little bit better about my speed. Stolowski 7th, Deer Hunter 8th, Calzone 9th. Rounding out your top 10 is Cold Carnival.
Yep, Neymar gets 11th with Gucci in P12, Gert 13th, Bowen in 14th, and Redeemer couldn't get another good lap in. He sets P15. Fluky could not set a time, and I believe that is Taylor, or I'm sorry, who's not sure who's 17th because there's no name. But regardless, that will be wrapping up qualifying ahead of Imola for the final race of the BRL ACC season.
Believe it was Tez Bowen, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be.
Was car 17. But yeah, these guys are going to be getting onto the grid shortly. They'll have about 2 minutes to get their final adjustments into their race cars, and then obviously make sure that their fuel is set correctly. That's mainly what they're going to be making sure they get pinpoint accurate, because if you remember all the way back to round 1, Deer Hunter ran out of fuel 3 laps into the race, so you don't want to do that.
I remember that.
You can refuel. You can refuel now, but spending about half a lap on low fumes, probably not the greatest idea.
Well, to be fair, in his defense, it was raining. And half
It
the
was
grid
raining,
was
yeah.
kind of in the pit lane, so...
I'm just waiting for the server to reset. There we go. They'll have about 3 minutes here of downtime, get everything set up and good to go. You can see next to their driver numbers on the left hand side of your screen, they'll have the orange with a number 2 in the middle of that box. That shows how many stops they have to make. They have to make at least 2 pit stops in this one, so as they continue to make pit stops, that number will go down to 1, and then the box will turn completely green when they've made all the mandatory stops. Now, making all the mandatory stops is one thing. Getting to the end of the race is another thing. You can make your 2 mandatory stops in the first 4 minutes of this race, but you're not going to make it on fuel, I can tell you that much. So, you got to space them out accordingly. There's no pit windows you have to abide by, so it's whenever you want to try and make it work. That's about it. It's what you got. Yeah, 2 hours is it's quite a long race, season finale, so we gotta make it a bit extra special for you guys. Hopefully we get some good battles throughout the race. Some safety car intervention would be nice, but I don't want it to absolutely ruin the entire pit strategy and race for you guys. I think that's going to be a main talking point of this one, so we'll see how it all plays out.
Huh. I didn't listen to Skeppy whenever he said it, but they did actually fix a lot of this stuff. Oh, that's cool. No idea what I'm doing, though. How do you get back to the screen you're on? Because I'm looking at variant out.
3 lines button. Return to, or well,
It's
yeah,
grayed
return to
out.
garage.
I guess I'll do it whenever I can.
Yeah, you have to wait until
Yeah.
the race starts for it, so it's all good.
Yep. Taylor says he's going to be a good safety car and start in the pits for once. Has he been not doing that?
No, they kind of just drive around behind the field for lap 1.
A little bit fun.
Kind of like the medical car.
Well, sometimes it's necessary. I hear the
Yeah.
engines.
Firing them up. 10 seconds remain until we get going here. I am trying to check the IndyCar race real quickly before we get underway here. See any updates? I don't think anyone flew yet, so I think we'll be okay. So Skeppy will lead them to green. John, Jug, Ichigo will follow behind them, and then it's Feta, and then Aiden in row 3. These guys are going to be rounding the 2 Ravatsas to the start-finish line. Make sure you don't get a drive-through, although it's not too big of a setback considering you have 2 hours to try and make it up. A bit of a gap forming between Feta and Jug, just rounding the corner, so hopefully they'll get that all set up to go as we'll wait for Skeppy to put on the power. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen his throttle trace. You'll see when he decides to go, as the green flag will drop very, very shortly as they're approaching the finish line here. Past the finish line, Skeppy waiting to go. There are the green flags waving. Skeppy's gone. John's got a decent start, but it's a mayhem in the back. Aiden off on the right-hand side. It looks like someone got into him. Side by side, got to make sure you keep the car clean through Sector 1. It looks like everyone's pretty much done so. Aiden's got back on the racetrack a little bit further back, but looks pretty nice and neat towards the front of the field for now.
Yeah, it looks like a good start so far. I mean, everyone's clean except for Carnival, but he's gone off at the exit of Villeneuve going into Tosa. He's now side by side with Calzoner and Aiden. A little bit of contact, but it's all good so far. He stays ahead of Calzoner in the Bentley, but Carnival's going to try to go after Aiden. Now side by side going up into turn 8. Now into 9, which is going to be Piratella. Can he try to get it through? Still side by side. Lets off, and Aiden in the Ferrari gets ahead. But he gets a better traction from the Carnival in the Lexus. He gets packed through Calzoner into P9.
Impressive to hold that side by side through there. It's really tight on the apex, and it's wide on the exit that you have to go. So credit where credit's due to keep that clean between the two of them. Back out front, though, I believe it's all status quo. As, yeah, actually, no, John's gotten passed by Jug. Ichigo's looking for a move on his McLaren teammate in that gold-wrapped McLaren. Special occasion race car for him. That'd be a bit of a nice
so down the
drive.
inside.
Oh. He's got go. Feta Cheese lining Ichigo up next. It's a bunch of Audis and McLarens out front with Jug, the lone Ferrari, holding tight in second. But, yeah, it looked pretty good on the opening lap. It looks like everyone's giving each other space. I know it's a long way to go, so gotta pick your fights. Make sure you stay smart. Don't want to lose your concentration, because otherwise it's going to be pretty much your race done and dusted if you have to make repairs in the pit lane along with refueling your race car.
Here we go. I'm trying to reset my stuff.
All good out front. Slowest couple positions on the start. Feta down a couple. Pull Carnival up into 7th. Aiden down 8th. Calzoner on the back of him in the Bentley. Bentley around here can absolutely destroy the curbs, but doesn't get great drives off, even though you're able to cut a lot of that line. So Calzoner struggling a bit in that huge Bentley. Get by Aiden here. It looks like Feta and Ichigo and John, who's dropping back here. Another mistake, I think, from John, who and Calzoner getting up the inside of Aiden into the chicane. That's not going to work. And yeah, contact between the two. Aiden's going to come out better of it. Calzoner worse. He's going to drop behind Deer Hunter, who's now going to challenge Aiden. Gets the right. It's flat through there, but it's turning left, and he's going to be able to get through. He's going to take 8th place in the capitalize on the 2 ahead of him. making some mistakes. But John, talking about mistakes, he's dropped all the way down to 5th with Stolowski and Ichigo, the 2 McLaren teammates, and Feta Cheese getting by him. So John, not the start he would have wanted today, and it's just it's downhill for him now. We'll see if he can climb his way back up the field like he did last weekend.
Looks like he doesn't have any damage right now on McLaren, so he could be all good, may have just made a mistake on off the track. But now he has to get past Fed on the Audi and 2 different McLarens alongside himself, Stowe and DXD, to get past up to Jug and even to Skeppy, who right now, if it were to end right now, about an hour and 56 minutes early, Skeppy would be crowned the champion, which is not what John wants. He needs to win the race. Skeppy needs to get P8 if he wants to tie it, which I believe it still would go to Skeppy, wouldn't it, on the tiebreaker?
Yeah, actually, I think it goes to John on the tiebreaker off wins. I believe because Skeppy only has 1, I believe John has 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm hoping we don't need a tiebreaker, so I don't have to do any extra calculations.
Look at Deer Hunter. He got a little bit squirrely at exit of Miriali and into. Look at Calzoner down into the chicane. Into Varianti Alta. He did it earlier with Aiden. It didn't work. This time it does. Gets past Deer Hunter up into P8 for the Bentley. And look at Neymar. He's actually going to challenge back on the Bentley in his bright pink Aston Martin down to the inside, or actually the outside of turn 16 into 17 and 18 of Ravatsa. He's going to try it down the inside. He's going to make it work a little bit. And he's going to get past ahead of Calzoner. Or I'm sorry, ahead of Deer Hunter. See the thing.
He's one of the guys I talked strategy with earlier because he knows he doesn't have the outright raw pace to go win this thing. He's one of the guys. We'll see his strategy if it works out for him. Hopefully it does. I think it would be great entertainment if it did. But yeah, out front though, how about Jug closing up on Skeppy? He's got that race pace going. Maybe a little bit less fuel in that Ferrari now than Skeppy does in the Audi. Again, maybe that's what John has. Maybe John has more fuel. He's made some more mistakes than the guys ahead of him. You never know how it's going to go with these guys on the fuel situation and the tires as well, how the tires and the car is going to handle on the heavier fuel. These guys haven't put full tanks of fuel in these race cars all season long, so they've got to get used to that on the fly here.
I believe Calzoner have just lagged out of the Grand Prix, by the way.
That's unfortunate. That's not the way he would have wanted to see his season end. He was a good driver and had some great moments this season, I believe, if I'm not wrong here. Let me just fact check this real quickly before I go spewing anything. He see.
Oh, DXC gets
He's not
wide
one.
on
Okay.
the end of Ravatsa. Here comes Feta to the inside and the outside going into turn 19. Around the outside on the front straighter with the Audi power ahead of the McLaren power and gets up into P4 for the Audi. That's going to be great for Feta. But look behind him, John. Is he going to try to challenge into Tamburello? No, he's a little bit too far back. DXC going defensive from his McLaren teammate behind, but Feta and the Audi will get up ahead of the McLaren into 4th.
Nice battle pack here for 4th place between these guys, all the way down to Carnival in 7th. A little bit of pressure from behind for Ichigo, who's got John behind him. Obviously, the 2 teammates might work together here in this pack. Here comes Carnival looking for a move. Won't work on John. John does leave the space though, and might have compromised his exit a little bit. Can't get close enough to Ichigo for a move.
The pit lane was open a bit ago, and Neymar is in.
And so I'll break the news. Unfortunately, I don't think Neymar's strategy has worked out to his liking. He said in the chat earlier, the Discord chat that is, no one do a Perez on lap 1, which was spin in front of the entire field and take everyone out. That's what he wanted to happen, by the way. He put absolutely 0 fuel in this Aston Martin to start the race.
Oh, wow.
And was hoping to try and one-stop it from a safety car restart about now. that has not worked out for him.
Oh,
unless we
John.
get a safety car very soon.
Sorry to cut in. DXD has a little bit early on the brakes. John going into Ravazza 1 gets ahead of his McLaren teammate, but now DXD's under pressure from Carnival and the Lexus of Ravazza 2. Down to the front straightaway again. Here comes the Lexus against the McLaren. This looks familiar like deja vu. A lap ago, it was an Audi. Now it's a Lexus going down into turn 1. He gets through the flat right. Now into Tamburella, into turn 2, 3 through 4. And it looks like the Lexus gets ahead of the McLaren. DXD falling back quick now to 7th.
Yeah, it should go. He had a great start and a lightning start to this race, but unfortunately it's not worked out. Calzone's got back in the session. He's 2 laps down in the lane. If he gets a safety car, he'll be able to get his laps back, along with Redeemer as well. But they're going to need a safety car to even think about getting back into the fight for points in this one. Yeah, it was a bold strategy for Neymar, I know. And I was really hoping it would work, because I thought it would be so funny if he could pull that off.
That would have been a real strategy call. And I said we needed some strategy, and Neymar tried to bite the bullet. Didn't work out.
Yeah, he said the bright pink Aston's going to bring some drama today, and well, unfortunately didn't get the safety car. We'll see if he gets one later on to try and balance out with everybody else. Jug really taking a lot of sausage curb through the chicane down to Ravazza 1. Not close to Skeppy, he's kind of just biding his time. Again, still an hour and 49 minutes to go for these guys. No rush to make a move now. It's not, the race doesn't depend on it just yet, so.
Not quite, but it still would be beneficial to get some track position just in case if it has to. But pit lane is going to be what really causes this shuffle up the grid. That's going to be whose strategy can work the best. And right now, if I was Jug, I would try to find any place necessary to try to get ahead of Skeppy when the time comes for that possible pit stop. Will the overcut work? Will the undercut work? Will maybe even trying to cover Skeppy off? Will that work? You got to figure it out. There's 2 stops. There's going to be plenty of time for that to happen. But maybe taking less fuel in the first stop for the second stint to be a little bit lighter, or maybe even doing the opposite to have the third stint lighter. You never know. You got to make something happen to get Skeppy. Right now on track, it's just not working.
Yeah, I know a lot of these guys were trying to run light fuel off the start so they could get away from the pack, and it's worked for Skep, Jug, Stolowski especially, who's gotten himself up to 3rd now and closing in on the 2 liters. Don't count him out of a race win just yet. He's got a couple on the season, so yeah, a different McLaren than I was expecting to be in 3rd at the moment, but I'll invite it nonetheless. 3-car battle for the lead. Who wouldn't want that?
Well, shaping up behind him, John's kind of just biding his time behind Fed in the Audi. So if you were correct with the higher fuel with John, he's trying to just stick behind Fed, gain some, or actually kind of burn some fuel as quick as he possibly can, run some laps, and get it as quick, or I guess as far into the Grand Prix he can before making that first stop, which he had to do 1 of 2. So will he do a shorter second stint, or will he try to go 2 short stints? You never know how much fuel that McLaren put in. Or did he put enough to possibly even go halfway to the Grand Prix, try to even make it on 2 small stops where he takes no fuel at all?
Yeah, it's interesting thought. Yeah, it's going to be a toss-up. I genuinely have no idea what these guys are going to be running. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Who takes more fuel and what stops. When they'll stop, and who's going to bite the bullet on the first stops of the day, barring main man Neymar. So it's going to be quite the experience today. And it's going to be up and down roller coaster for a lot of these guys. Sometimes you'll be down in like 19th, or not 19th, more like 14th place, and you'll be like, what the heck is happening? As Ichigo is shaping up a move on Cold Carnival for 6th. These guys, yeah, they're going to be up and down the field all day, depending on when people stop and when they refuel, so we won't really know where they're going to shape up. This is going to be your rough running order for now. You probably won't see this until maybe an hour to go, and then towards the last couple minutes of the race, so.
It's funny you mentioned up and down the grid, because I was going to segue that into seeing DXD and Carnival. DXD's definitely been up and down the grid. He started P3, if you actually no, P4 if you would remember, and it was up there for a while, battling with the likes of Jug and Zalowski, but is now down in 7th. Was trying to move on Carnival. He tried to fake the outside into the inside, but it just wasn't going to work down into Villeneuve. So watch out for DXD. He looks a little racy. Let's do an hour and 46 minutes to go. So that McLaren still has quite a lot of time to make it to the Grand Prix end with those 2 stops still to come, even more. So Carnival has to figure out the best he can to fight off the McLaren or let him by before he gets into a little bit of a tussle that he doesn't want to get into. They're both catching John. John's made another mistake. He was on the back of Vetta.
Yeah, John somewhere must have got loose. I'm gonna guess through the chicane, probably hopped one of the sausage curbs too high for that McLaren. McLaren really good on flat curbs, not so much on the big bulky curbs. So it's really good through those final 2 corners in the Rivazza 1 and 2, but not so much through the chicane. I'm gonna guess that's probably where he lost a bit of that time.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. I mean, it looks like Carnival just has to try to chase out. Whoa! Completely missed this Villeneuve. That's John. I don't think that's lag because he kept going.
I'm hoping it. Yeah,
It may be. No, there's still gravel coming off his car. I think it may have just gone a mistake from John. It looks like, because he has gained a little bit. Actually, I'm sorry, lost a little bit to Carnival a bit. And Carnival's now almost within a second of the McLaren in front. That was a little interesting one through Villeneuve.
How about this for the race lead? Jug put in the bumper to Skeppy offline. Neymar causing a little bit of havoc as a lap car here. And Stolowski will get by him cleanly, but Skeppy and Jug really, really close to each other through the middle section of this lap, and now down to the final 3 corners that and it's gonna be quite tight down the main straight if Jug can get the run off.
I mean, you see, and you noticed a second ago about the McLaren taking the flat curves and how the car differs with every curve. You saw how much Skeppy avoided the entry curve and the apex curve of first Rivazza. Jug was all over it, almost all 4 wheels on top of that curve. Skeppy trying to break the slipstream down into turn 2, now into Tamburello. But Jug is just trying to sit and, I guess, bide his time behind the Audi, trying to look for another mistake. It might be another opportunity like he had about half a lap ago to get past Skeppy. That is going to be Stowe in the pit lane. Here we go. Is this pits?
That's an early one as well. 15 minutes in for Stolowski, maybe on that Neymar strat. But it's going to probably be a full refuel for him the rest of this way. Probably both stops. He's probably going to make sure that thing is full of gasoline in that McLaren. Early stop. He's going to get some clean air. Yellow flag. I believe that might be John off. It is. John getting passed now by Deere, so that'll be for 8th. But how much time he has lost to the top 2 of Skep and Jug now in this first stint.
Yeah, this is not what John needed at all. He's in a must-win. He's 9 points out of the championship lead. And actually, Jug made a mistake. He's made a mistake through, I believe, Tosa and Piratella, because he's now about 2-3 seconds off of Skeppy.
That's damage on the rear of the car if you get the camera angle right.
I'll get the replay.
Feta cheese is going to be all over the back of him. It might be an Audi 1-2 here in a couple moments. All kicking off here after Stolowski made his pit stop.
Oh yeah, exit of Piratella. He got on the curb and looped it and backed it into the wall about where George Russell did it in the Formula 1 race in 2020. So he has now rear end damage, so rear wing damage, and maybe even some diffuser damage. He's now in the pit lane. Boxing
this lap, yeah, he's going to be making sure that thing is repaired and fresh as new when he leaves the lane. But this is what I was talking about. I know you've got a lot of time to make up in this race, but refueling and damage, it's just not a combo you want in the lane. You can't do both at the same time. So it's a big blow for Jug here, and he's going to drop down the order. It's an Audi 1-2. Very spread. But the Hamilton and Bottas here looking very good.
Yep, Skeppy is kind of like almost the, I guess you could say the mentor of the Audi brigade. He was he recruited me into the Audi for that first race before I bye. But now he did the same with Feta. Feta is now in P2. Yes, there's still a long way to go. He still has those 2 stops, with everyone having the same except for Neymar and Stolowski. Right now, Audi's looking in a great position. Skeppy leads Feta by about 10 seconds or so, according to the timing sheets. Skeppy's exiting Ravazza 2, and Feta's entering Ravazza. So that's going to be... Actually, I'm sorry. He's exiting Varianzi Alta, so that's going to be a pretty big gap from those 2 in the Audis. But Carnival is about 6 seconds or so off of Feta, but look where the championship rival for Skeppy is. P7, behind Deer, behind Aiden, behind DXD. So right now, John is... He's in a very, very big situation here. He's in a pretty deep hole. Same with Juggernog, who also has that mistake that he got and the damage that he has as well. He's now below Stolowski. Stolowski's about to approach Piratella. Jug is going through the second part of Villeneuve into Tosa.
Yeah, huge implications for literally everyone in this race, besides the dude who everyone was hoping would have some bad luck today, unlike most of this season. Skeppy has had an amazing run this season. So many second places, leading the championship by 9. It's going to be more than that now if you look at the live results. John down at 7th, that is. So he's had an incredible run, and he's looking to back it up with a win in the final race. Still a long ways to go here, but he's looking very good with a lot of his rivals down and out at the moment.
Yeah, as you said, he's been a very, very good run. Let's look at the last 3 itself. He's got 2 podiums in the last 3 races. With round 10 last round, he got P2 and a couple rounds ago, winning in round 8. But round 9, he obviously was still Neymar DXD in the podium. So, but let's go look at John. John has had 1 podium in the last 3 races, and that was last round, behind Skeppy. So this is going to be a very big implication, because I mean, Skeppy's had a very, very good run and good season so far, and is obviously deserving of this championship lead, which he has. But what can John do? Because it's still about an hour and 40 minutes or so left in the race. Anything could happen. John could end up winning the race, and Skeppy could be in 18th. So it's a long race to go for these guys to never really give up. You have a long time to make sure you can possibly get anything. But it's also not just those 2. You have other guys, Jug and Stowe. You have Calzone and DXD. You have Phantom, who hasn't showed up today. He was tied with DXD on points. You have Neymar, who's trying to extend his championship where he is in the points. Right now he's P9. There's a lot of drivers who's not just named John or Skeppy trying to look for these points, which who need a good finish here.
Yeah, and they can capitalize easily with some of these guys out of the points right now. Like Ichigo sitting 4th. Cold Carnival having a career day right now in the top 3. Aiden in his, I believe, debut, sitting 5th as well. Nice and consistent in the Ferrari, barring lap 1, that is. Deer Hunter sitting 6th, about where he normally is, but with more cars on the grid, it's a bit more impressive this time by. John 7th. Gucci Lucci has put himself into 8th place after starting near the rear of the field, so solid recovery from him so far in his debut as well. And Bowen just outside in 9th. So a lot of these guys going to be looking to capitalize on some of these guys' mistakes early on in this race.
Yeah, let's talk about that, as you actually noticed about Carnival and Gucci and Bowen all up positions from where they started. Gucci started P12. He's up 4 positions. Bowen started 14th. He is up to 9th. He's up 5. But the big mover is definitely Carnival. He started P10. He's up 7 positions since the Grand Prix, where he's in P3 right now. So that's a great start for the Lexus driver.
Yeah, Lexus has had a bit of an average, mediocre season. Lexus, not the greatest car to drive. It's a great starter car if you want to try and get into ACC. Very easy to drive, very easy on the power, on the brakes, from my experiences. But it's just not a fast car when it comes to the top level of competition. Like we've got Skeppy and Feta out front. Carnival just can't match those lap times. He may be one of the greatest drivers of all time, but I'll tell you right now, you could be one of the best GT drivers of all time. You put them in a Lexus, they're not winning a championship. So it's just how it falls with the car selections, what you're comfortable with. But Carnival running 3rd, that's a great result if he can hold it in the Lexus. I can tell you that.
Well, what happened a second ago, ironically, that we're talking about the Lexus of Deer Hunter actually went wide in the exit. I'm sorry, the exit of Ravazza 1 into the gravel trap, and John had to get on the brakes heavily, almost actually going off the track and cutting Ravazza 2 because how bad he had to stop. Deer Hunter got the position and got his car back going without having to lose much time to John, as John is actually close to the back of Deer Hunter once again into Tosa. Deer Hunter going defensive. You can take a lot of lines into Tosa, as Deer Hunter's proving, and John took pretty much the opposite line. Deer Hunter the early apex, John the late apex, but it's going to be who can get the better run and into Piratella, as it's proven to be a pretty hard corner to get right. You can ask Jug, and you can ask a couple drivers in qualifying who I'm pretty sure has invalidated the lap or wrecked into Piratella.
Yeah, the weight transfer through here with these cars is so difficult to get right. You're on the brakes, turning, back on the brakes again, turning again, and it's just, the car just does not want to stay with you. With some aggressive setups, even some of the safer setups that you can run with these cars, and it's not fun to get that down lap after lap, along with heavy fuel. You're asking for a lot for that car to get through there, but so far most of them have managed. We've seen a couple slip-ups.
He's got too deep
So far, and I've jinxed Deer Hunter while saying the word slip-up. John's going to get up the inside. Can Deer Hunter get the run off? He might be able to challenge back into turn 1 here, you know.
Good, the slipstream's powerful enough. Here comes the Lexus. It does look like it's faster. You can ask DXD. The Lexus was faster whenever it was racing Carnival in the straight line. They're now side by side going up into Tamburello. It's going to be inside line for Deer Hunter. Later on the brakes for the Lexus. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can, but not good enough for
no,
turn
he can't.
4. Or turn 3, I'm sorry. Here comes the switchback. John's now up into P6 again, who's now up ahead of Deer Hunter once more.
So John getting the move done finally on Deer Hunter. He'll move himself up to 6th place. He's going to have some clean track ahead of him to try and grind out some lap times here. 11 seconds, the gap to the top 5. That is a huge gap. Plus, by the way, the gap from Feta to Carnival is about 9 seconds. Feta to Skeppy, 10 seconds. There's a lot of track between John and championship rival Skeppy. But, like we've said, an hour and a half to go. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Yep, you just need to keep it on the track. Try not to cut too many corners and get those warnings, because if you get too many, you can get a drive-through or a stop and go. But you also need to be wary of not only cutting the corner, but running too far wide onto those yellow sausage curbs you saw in qualifying and a couple times so far this race. The cars can't really handle these sausage curbs as much as the drivers really want to. They wish those things weren't there. You want to cut and maximize the amount of track you got, but sometimes that's just not there. Sometimes you hit those sausage curbs and it could send your car flying. So hopefully those guys will keep their car clean, make sure there's no damage on those sausage curbs, and try to go and keep it on the track. But one thing I have noticed is Feta has caught Skeppy by a little bit, maybe around a couple tenths the last couple of laps, but Aiden has closed in pretty much significantly on DXD. He's actually had to compromise his line going into turn 2 because of the blue flag black marker of Fluky letting DXD pass, which now separates Aiden and DXD in the McLaren. But there's a couple guys in front of DXD who have the same issue as well. I believe that's Neymar going into Tosa. In front of him, I believe, is Carnival. Yes, it is, who's actually been quite caught down by the McLaren of DXD. So these guys having to negotiate some lap traffic as going through and trying to race themselves and the racetrack.
Yeah, they're going to have to handle some of these guys towards the back and pick their way through. Obviously, Ferrari teammates between Fluky and Aiden, that worked out well for the two of them. So Aiden's going to have a clear run to Ichigo, who is quite close to Carnival as well, by the way, in 3rd. So it's going to be a nice little battle here. Neymar getting lapped by Carnival in the distance. Aiden looking to track down Ichigo. Ichigo tracking down the car ahead of him, Carnival. So could have a 3-car battle pack form really quickly here for 3rd.
Well, speaking of the two Ferrari teammate strategies with Aiden and with Fluky, Gucci, the other Ferrari, is actually now into the lane. He's going to take his first stop.
So stop 1 for Gucci, and it'll be a pretty full refuel. Half an hour in, so you're going to have to split probably 45 minutes to go each stint. Nice and easy on the tires. So that's a pretty good strategy, I would say, from Gucci there. We'll see if it works out for him, gains a couple spots towards the end of the race. But yeah, I don't know how it's going to work out for everybody here towards the end. Skeppy, Feta, both staying out. The two Audis look to be on similar strategies, I would say. And probably the McLarens all on similar as well. Stolowski a bit off of them. So probably John Ichigo similar. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how each car fares with the extra pit stop and the fuel refueling today, because not all the cars are equal on how far they could go on the fuel. So we'll see how it all plays out.
One thing I have noticed, obviously there is blue flags, but you don't have to abide by them as much as you do in Formula 1. Neymar has not made it easy on DXD. He has stayed right there, not deviating from his racing line. Neymar says, if you want to get past me and pass me and lap me, you have to work for it. Here he goes down the inside of Bariazzi Alza. He makes it work. Neymar gets past, but that was not easy for DXD, which he actually lost a bit of time to Carnival. Doesn't look like it much, but he has lost quite a significant amount of time behind the Aston, but now Aiden's going to be behind the Aston as well. He's going to look for a move into Ravazza 1.
Inside.
He's looking for it. Neymar stays out of the way, and rightfully so. Aiden now is up and past the Aston, who is lapped down. Now he's going to try to fate and try to go catch up to the McLaren of DXD as he goes and fights after the Lexus in front of him.
Yeah, Neymar unfortunately never got that safety car. So, we've been safety car free though, which is a good testament to these guys' skill so far. Half an hour in, we're only a quarter of the way there.
I believe the only crash that I can physically say that I have noticed, there may have been some that has been under the radar a bit, but the only one that I have seen was Juggernaut, exit of Piratella. That is going to be pitting for Fluky, by the way.
So Fluky making his first stop of the day, currently sitting 13th. He'll drop probably towards the back, probably stays 14th, ahead of Calzona, who was a lap down.
Oh, I talk about not seeing crashes. John has gone completely off.
Oh, no.
That is the exit of, I believe, Tamburello.
Yeah, he's way off.
Saves it
Trying
again.
to get that car back on. Yeah, he's got it back on, though. Minimal damage, if even any, on that McLaren, so he's going to be able to keep going, but man, it's just not been his day. It's really not been his final, 4 weeks of this season, and it's gone downhill for him in the championship, unfortunately.
Well, there's a long time to go, as we keep been saying, about an hour and a half left to go here at Imola, so there's a lot of opportunity to happen. Anything can happen. You could have a second where you're leading the Grand Prix like Skeppy is now, or you're fighting for the Grand Prix like Jug was, and then you could lose it. So it could also come down. Oh, John again through.
Oh no.
That is time through Minerali. Lost at the first part of Minerali, but get the engine back running. He's going to get back onto the track. Some more time. He's going to hop over the yellow sausage curves. Hopefully that didn't do any damage to his underfloor. But anything can happen in an hour and a half. But John wishes this race was already over. But Carnival, here we go. This could possibly bring some guys in.
Could bring some of those guys in, indeed. Sitting third place before making his stop. He's going to be pulling into the lane. By the way, if you didn't know, this is one of the longest lanes we have on the entire calendar for our division. So it's a big pit lane loss time. So making the 2 stops, you don't want to make more than that. So it'll be a huge loss if you have to make another stop besides the 2 that you already have to make without a safety car. John's into the lane as well, probably for damage, I would assume, unless this is his scheduled pit window. But he's going to be following Carnival into the lane, and yeah, losing a lot of time.
Well, we'll see how much time Carnival loses through that pit lane, because it is a big pit lane, like you said. It's very long, a lot of delta loss. So he went and undercutted both the guys he was racing of Aiden and Ishigo. So we'll see where he cycles out with those 2 when they finally make their first pit stop out of the 2. Aiden's actually closed up very, very, very rapidly to the back of the McLaren of DXD, who's almost within about, 3/10 or so of the McLaren in front. So if these 2 can get their power down and see how fast they can run for the next couple of laps or so before their pit window comes in.
Carnival, by the way, just came out of the lane. He just got lapped by Skeppy. That's how long a pit stop is around here. He just got lapped, but he was sitting about, what, 20 seconds off of Skeppy?
DXD faked him in. Aiden is in.
Oh, wow. Okay, so DXD with the fake move. Aiden into the lane. Probably about his scheduled window anyway, but interesting tactics from Ichigo. Thinking the overcut's going to work for him, not against him. Yeah, it's not just a long lane. It's on the fastest section of the racetrack. It's the straight from the final corner all the way to turn 1. There's nowhere on the racetrack that rivals that, and you're hitting, I'd say about 160, 170, probably maxing to like 180, heading into turn 1 by the exit of the pit lane. So you lose a lot of time in this lane. So Carnival already a lap down from his stop, and yeah, it's interesting to note how much time you're going to lose.
Well, that means we're going to see how much of the gap is really in the Delta loss, because that means I think Fetta's the only driver that could come out without possibly having to be a lap down. Carnival's gone a little deep in the Ravazza 1, but lucky for him, Aiden is now just rolling. Aiden may actually overcut him here. It's going to be close. Carnival through 19.
Aiden jump him. It'll be really tight, but Carnival is going to have the overspeed. Will he jump Aiden? Yeah, he will. He'll stay ahead of Aiden, that is. Aiden, though, looks really close to Carnival. This begs the question, what happens to Ichigo now? Because he's doing an overcut. He's gone 2 laps further
he's staying
than
out.
Aiden, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Ichigo if he jumps them to take a net P3 on the road.
Well, let's take a look at that, because I mean, last time Carnival was. That's big the gap between Aiden and DXD was. So I think the overcut may actually be a little bit more powerful. So DXD may be in the catbird seat here. Aiden is like within what, a couple tenths or so. About last time the timing loop was about 9 tenths. He's a lot closer since then. With Carnival going out of the next timing loop on the exit, I believe, of
no way.
Minerali. Yeah, look, Aiden about 6 tenths of a second. He's even closer at the exit of Minerali because of the little bit of a mistake through the first part of Minerali from the Lexus. It's going to be close. I think DXC could get a both.
I think he could. I genuinely think he could. He's been going solid so far in his stint. Not sure how much longer he's going to go on that set of tires. We have a red flag for IndyCar, by the way, if you're keeping track of that. Chandler just came in the chat and said, heard an IndyCar bottle. That's why I was like,
oh, no.
Seriously. There's no way he just lost that race.
Oh, I think I knew where he did it. It's probably by the bridge.
I'm gonna assume that's where he did it too.
Oh, wow. Well, back to our race. As much as IndyCar is definitely chaotic, I would really like to see what happens here with these about an hour and about 20 minutes or so left to go. DXT, will he come in this time by? Looks like it. Yes, he will. So we'll see where he comes out.
Red flag for IndyCar means it's a great time to come watch this race because we're seeing our strategies unfold at the moment.
Just look at that.
Hour 23 to go. A lot of guys still with pit stops left, so.
Carnival now closing up to the back of Gert in the Aston.
Go into the lane.
Whoa, actually, look at Aiden. He's going to get a better exit of the exit of Tosa.
Yeah.
Side by side now with Carnival through 8. Now going to 9 of Piratella. Going around the outside, we saw Carnival trying to go down the inside of someone earlier today. Around the outside, Aiden goes, but he's going to be able to stay on the track. No, he's off. He's going to have to get the position back. Carnival, regardless, gets a better exit. They're going to be side by side down into Minerali. Is that going to work? No, it's not. No. Aiden gets ahead.
So Aiden will get the position finally from Carnival. Ichigo's in the lane, by the way. We'll see where he files out with these two. It could be a nice battle pack. Carnival looking down the inside into the chicane, hops the sausage curb, gets a little bit wayward. Aiden gave him a lot of space on the way in.
And while that was happening, Gert missed the chicane. So is that going to be a possible warning, or is that going to have anything ahead of him?
Ichigo said his speed limiter glitched.
Oh, he may have a drive-through.
Might get a drive-through on the way out here. We'll see what happens.
That is going to completely hurt him, but look how far he has jumped those two. He's exited the lane now.
He
Stop
does,
and go.
yeah. Man, oh, it should go. That's a big loss. He did jump them, so the overcut proving powerful around here, keeping the tire temperatures up and making sure you just keep the consistency up. It's really paying off for some of these guys. By the way, Stolowski, who pit, he's currently sitting 4th ahead of a guy who hasn't even made a stop, Bowen. We'll see where he comes out in position compared to Skeppy and Feta, who he would be around. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Let's see, Natosa last time around, it was almost the exact same as it was this time. Gert went a little bit deep. Cold Carnival went a little bit deep last time. He got the better exit. Gert got a little... Oh, Aiden loses it almost. Catches it. But look at Carnival. He's going to go side by side. Better run with Gert on the Aston. Through 8 into Piratelli. He's going to try to go around the outside. Oh, contact!
Oh, contact! It's Cold Carnival. It looked like Gert came across his nose, and that's going to be him into the wall. We'll see if we get a move from Taylor coming shortly soon. Not sure how much is going to be needed for him to come out today, but that was completely, well, it was completely, definitely an incident, I can tell you that much, but I'm not sure how much it's going to be.
We thought, I mean, there's a lot of damage to his right side, and I believe the right front fender as well. There's a little bit of diffuser damage, I believe some on the front wing. Gert's still going, he's at the exit of Venerati Alta. But, I mean, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for a safety car. We have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, just keep an eye on that gold dot. It looks kind of brown. On the left-hand side of the mini-map, the number 2 there. That is... that's Taylor. As a lot of these guys pulling into the pit lane.
Yep.
They see an opportunity. Ichigo, obviously, is to serve the stop and go. Tez Bowen making his first stop of the night. Deer Hunter is actually coming out as we see Calzoner as well following him out. They're going to cycle out in pretty good track position, I believe. They're going to be behind Aiden, and I think it'll stay right there in 7th, and well, Calzoner's down in 15th, but Deer Hunter's going to be in 7th, so you'll have a bit of track position to play with. Audi's still on the track, though. Yeah.
They are the only 2, except for Deemer down in 16th, who have yet to make their first stop. So that's going to be a very long first stint for Audi. Possibly they're going to try to do 2 shorter stints with lower fuel, which is going to make them faster and probably easier to handle. And if that's the case, look how fast and far away these 2 are right now. That's with a heavy set of fuel, apparently. Imagine them without it.
Yeah, that's got to be with pretty close to max fuel if they're already 45 minutes into this one. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to play out for them then, because they've already gone so far and they've pulled away from everyone. Besides, I think Stolowski, who might have a shot to split them if he can't get the undercut on Skeppy. It's like a 30-minute undercut by now, by the way. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with the 2 Audis out front.
Well, one thing to look out for, as Gert actually comes in to stop as well, is DXC now. He's going to be on a mission. That's going to be 30-second stop and go for Gert. But speaking of stop and go, DXC is going to have to try and give everything he's got for a recovery drive. Right now, it's going to start with Gucci and Tess Bowen, those 2 in front of him directly if he wants to get into the top 10. Only the 8 gets points, so he's in 11th. He has a lot of positions to go. He's going to go late on the brakes. Gucci goes a little bit wide to the first part of Minerali, but he's going to try to go and chase after Bowen. These 3 battles are going to have a quite significant amount of time. But here comes Gucci to the left-hand side. He's going to try to go for it. Bowen's going to close the door into Mirianti Alta.
Not a great overtaking corner, so Ichigo mounting the curbs, interestingly enough, in the McLaren, so forget what I said about they can't mount the sausage curbs. Ichigo proving it wrong, and he's got a nice run coming down to Ravazza 1. Can he get a move on his on the Ferrari of Gucci? It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough, and he'll have to stick behind for now.
Bowen went a little bit deep. That's going to compromise Gucci's line. DXT's going to have a slipstream not only of the Ferrari, but of the Aston in front of him. One of these guys is going to have a move in turn 1. Who is it going to be? Looks too far behind.
And Gichigo has a shot at trying to get Gucci here into turn 1. We've seen him late on the brakes. He's been aggressive all season, and it's just racing and driving style. He goes down the inside of Gucci. Can he keep it on the road? Yes, he can. He leaves enough space as well, and that is a beautiful textbook move from Ichigo up into 11th.
Yep, banked to the right, then went to the left, and laid on the brakes, and got ahead of the Ferrari behind. Now he's going to have to go chase after Bowen and the Aston. Skeppy's in.
Skeppy making his first stop of the race, 24 laps in. Ichigo looking to the inside of Bowen. Won't get a move that time around. Looks like he's trying to find a way, and Feta following in on the same exact strategy as Skeppy. So as I predicted, they're working together here to keep their race intact.
DXT's third.
Car following them in as well. It's Gert, I believe. Yeah, it's DXT will get Bowen for 10th. Gert following them in. He has to serve the stop and go, unfortunately. So he's going to be out of the race for points for now. We'll see if he can get a safety car for it later. But the two Audis in. We'll see now where do they come out in comparison to Stolowski and Jug as well.
Well, Stowe is coming through very anti-Alta. According to our timing sheets, he is still 1 lap down.
I think they're going to come out 1-2 still.
Yeah, I believe you're right, because look, it looks like he has completed... Actually, no, I believe this is just... it may be on the same lap. It says they have completed 25 laps, both Audis. Everyone else has completed 24 or below. So will that be enough for those guys to come out in front? Skeppy's already out of the lane.
Are they past the line? Okay, so yeah, I think then they are on the same lap, because Stolowski now should be passing Feta here.
That's true.
Feta coming out of the lane. I think, yeah, Skeppy's going to maintain the lead. I believe Stolowski's going to jump Feta for 2nd. Will Jug jump Feta for 3rd? That's the question now. He's coming up behind. I believe he's a little too far back, though.
I believe, actually, they're still there.
Oh, actually, never mind. There's Feta right there on the pit exit. You can see how much time he's lost to Jug, and Jug's going to get around him for 3rd.
Well, then again, look how longer Feta and Skeppy both went. So that's compromised Feta a bit. But then again, he was not 2nd on the road beforehand. His first pit stop, Stowe and Jug were both ahead of him. Feta was battling for 5th, I believe, with the likes of John as well, who's actually down in P8. So this is pretty much the opposite of what John wanted to happen in order to get the championship here.
Yeah, this is complete flip the script on him. It's basically what his worst nightmare was. He wanted to be up on the top step of the podium. Gert has run off the racetrack into the grass on the left-hand side. And, oh, very close to Feta. I don't know if they made contact or not.
I don't think they did.
But Feta's got to settle back into a rhythm now, because he just got passed by Jug, and he's going to have to warm up the tires, and he's going to have to try and settle back into his rhythm. He was in a nice rhythm. He was basically matching Skeppy's times before they made their stop, and from what I can gather, I don't think they put in the same amount of fuel in this last pit stop.
I don't think they did it either. I think Feta was stationary for a little bit longer than Skeppy.
I agree.
So I think Skeppy's going to go a lighter fuel stint this time and have maybe a little bit more fuel for the final stint. Try to get as fast as he possibly can, pull away from Stowe, who's only 12 seconds behind. So that, 30-40 minute undercut, like you said earlier, maybe did play out a little bit to Stowe's advantage a bit, because I'm not sure exactly what the gap was originally, but it's a lot closer now.
Yeah, he was with... Well, if anything, it's not helped Jug, because Jug obviously had to fix that damage. He's lost about 10 seconds in that exchange. Stowe was close to Skeppy. But Skeppy, I think, on the lighter fuel, it didn't matter what Stowe did on the undercut. So I think Stowe running the heavier fuel on his 2 stops. So we'll see how that works for him as he starts to get onto lighter fuel. Now Skeppy probably on heavier fuel than him at the moment. We'll see how it plays out between those two.
Oh, Stowe went way too deep at Minerali. He's gone over the Imola sign on the outside there. He's going to have a little bit of time loss. He's got a decent amount of gap between himself and Jug, and he's going to let a loss about a second or so to Skeppy in front. But that's going to be a, I guess, not planned excursion to the other side of the track.
I don't think that would be planned. But I believe... Hold on. few enthusiasts. Marcus Ericsson has won their IndyCar race at Nashville, went airborne, and still won the race. So
there it is.
Be the judge of that.
Interesting tactics. Well, the closest battle on track that I can see is actually going to be Gucci and Bowen. Battle for 11th down into turn 2 into the Tamburello chicane. Bowen ahead of Gucci as it was for quite a decent amount of time now, as you can actually remember and recall. DXD was behind the both of them. He disposed of Gucci a little bit earlier and then got Bowen not too long after. Well, it looks like they haven't been able to move on, I guess you could say, between the two. Going into the Villeneuve chicane, Bowen a little bit wide. Gucci even wider. Gone into the gravel, almost 4 wheels off the track there, and now into Tosa. We'll see what these two can do running into turn 5. But a little bit of an update. Neymar's actually back into the top 10, so I don't know how much of his fuel is already gone, because he pitted, with 5 minutes to go, with 5 minutes in. So he's done a decent strategy so far, but I think he has to get like you said earlier, a pretty much almost to the brim fuel tank for the last stint. He may be coming in soon.
Yeah, he's going to be close to making his second stop of the day. I assume it's probably going to be just after the hour mark hits, so probably another 15-20 minutes or so, and then he's probably going to have to come back in and refuel to the end of the race. So Gucci and Bowen, very differing lines through the chicane, but still status quo between them for 11th. It's very even at the top. 13 seconds from Skep and Stowe, 10 each between Stowe, Jug, and Feta. Another 15 back to Aiden, but he's got Carnival close behind for company.
Yeah, it looks like Aiden's actually dropped off from Carnival over the last maybe 5 or so laps. If you can recall, they actually battled for a little bit before trying to determine how far they would go from DXD. But it looks like Carnival got into a rhythm, but Aiden's rhythm was slightly faster. He's now 2.1 seconds or so for the last timing loop ahead of the Lexus.
Proceeds to take notes. Go airborne, then come back to take P1 at the end of the race. Got it.
Hopefully that doesn't happen in this race here, because if we see
I don't think anyone's done that yet.
No, I don't think we have, and I don't think we need to. Let's keep it that way. We have had a couple incidents. If you were just now tuning into the stream after the IndyCar race, or if you just found us on Twitch, we had 2 incidents from the start of the race. We were about almost an hour in. We were about an hour, actually I guess 50 minutes in or so, 51 to be exact. We've had a couple incidents. We had a spin from Jug. We had a crash from Gert after the help, I guess, from Carnival. And, well, let's look at these two, Gucci and Bowen. They're looking for a move down into Variante Alta. Bowen breaks a little bit later than Gucci. Both make the corner. But Skeppy is
Jug on the back of them as well.
He has, yeah. So
Feta made some mistake. He's dropped off of Jug's 10-second margin, but Jug closing in on Stolowski. So keep an eye on Jug here as he works his way through the traffic. He's got a little bit of cosmetic damage on that left-hand side. You could see on that Ferrari, but yeah, don't count him out for the race win still yet to come.
And the Ferrari, no less, at the other Droma Ferrari, Edino Ferrari. Yeah. So Enzo Edino Ferrari. But I've actually noticed, I believe Skeppy has led all 28 laps so far, and he's halfway through lap 29. So we could possibly see a straight up domination so far as it comes for about the first half of the race from Skeppy. Still with 1 pit stop to go, anything can still change. We could have a safety car, or we could have a few excursion going through the Grand Prix with about an hour or so left remaining.
This would be a very Skeppy-esque win, by the way, if he was to lead pretty much every single lap of this one. No mistakes from him. Rarely we've seen him off the track. We saw him once in the wet at Nürburgring. He had 2 offs a couple weeks back at Olton. But other than that, it's just been pure consistency from him. A lot of second places, so he hasn't had the outright speed to win a lot of them. But he's been more consistent than anyone else on this grid, and it's really shown right now in this endurance type race.
Well, that's one type of driving style. You can see, I mean, obviously, if you're not new to the BRL league, both in Formula One and in ACC, you know that Skeppy is not really necessarily the type that enjoys the Formula One side of the league racing side, and it looks like he has finally found his home, as he shown through the first and second seasons of the ACC Championship here in BRL. It looks like he's definitely found his place in the league racing side and the ACC and endurance side of things. So that's good to see.
Yeah, and we'll see as this is picking up a lot of interest at the moment, and I'm happy to see it because I've very much enjoyed my time on the game, and I'm hoping to get myself signed up to drive next season. I'm not sure if you have any plans on joining the ACC tiers, but we'll see how it goes next season because the F1 game right now is in quite a shambles. But I'm not sure if we maybe might be able to get 2 tiers again in ACC. We'll see how it goes and how it plays out in our little off season that we have. But yeah, I'm excited for next season already, and I hope you guys are as well in the chat.
Well, you know, in order for the next season, we need to finish this one. But one thing I have noticed is Calzoner is now cleared of both his stops. He has finished both of his pit stops. He has taken the time to go to the pit lane, I believe, a couple of times, especially after his little excursion after disconnecting, which unfortunately happened. Oh, that is Redeemer cutting through Minerali, going through, but out of the way of Calzoner. So he's actually completed his stop. He's, I believe, 3 laps down.
He's good to go. Yeah, he's quite a ways off of everybody, unfortunately. He disconnected earlier and had to get back in the session in the pit lane. But yeah, he should be good to go on fuel in the Bentley. Yeah, he's going to ride it out for another hour and see if he can somehow muster up another position or 2 at least, or hope for that safety car to bless him.
We actually haven't seen the safety car this race, because he actually didn't start the race, as you said. He actually started from the pit lane. So maybe we'll see the safety car at one point. Redeemer's gone slow into turn 16, almost into Ravazza. Is that a it looks like he may have some damage in the Aston Martin. Not having the best of days today.
Yeah, unfortunately, I believe this is his debut. Not having a great day, getting out of the way of Deer Hunter, who gets by in 7th place. Again, you can see all these 1s in the orange boxes. That means they still have 1 pit stop to go. Calzoner, his box is green. He's cleared of all his pit stops. It looks like Redeemer's got a right front tire down.
That's what I thought.
On that Aston coming into the lane. So pushing it too far on the set of tires, maybe ran over some debris. It is a sim after all. It can happen. Yeah, he's got... That might be both right side tires down on that thing.
It looked like it was considerably lower on the right side. So that's what I was...
Yeah. Well, that's going to be his mandatory stops done for the day. So he'll be all set on that front. But unfortunately, not having a great day out on the racetrack. Jug still closing in on Stolowski for 2nd place, by the way. Keep an eye on that gap, 7.2 at the moment. Feta falling off of Jug, who has put up a rapid pace so far, and Aiden closing in on Feta. We'll keep an eye on that gap as well, 5.2 right now.
And Aiden's actually, it looks like he is one of the fastest cars on the track at the moment. You can see he's gained a bit from Carnival, who, if you do recall, he still was up in the top 5, even before the pit stops from Jug and Stolowski. So Carnival has now trying to settle into a rhythm. Aiden looks like he has found that rhythm. He's now closing in on Feta, who was P2.
Yeah, Feta, after a lot of these guys made their stops, was running around behind Skeppy. We suspect Feta does have more fuel on board at the moment, though, so we'll see how that pace shapes out for him as we go. But, yeah, I don't know how it's going to all play out. Anyone can stop from now and make it to the end on fuel. It's just whether or not you want to risk the tires going that far.
I believe they can, a little bit of saving, but who knows if drivers want to do that. Some drivers and some cars are better on older tires compared to newer ones, as you saw with DXD and the McLaren team, as they got a pretty big and significant overcut on not one but two cars and their rivals they were chasing in Carnival and in Aiden. But unfortunately, with the 10-second stop and go for speeding the pit lane due, I believe, to a malfunction with the pit limiter, caused him to be back in P10. He's now fighting to get back into the points. He's now trying. He's about 9 seconds or so off of Neymar in the Aston, who appears to be decent amount, because you see John, who is in the points at the moment, he's exiting Tosa, and Neymar is exiting and now entering turn 4 on the rundown into the Villeneuve chicane. So it's going to be a tough ask for DXC to get back into the points, and John is just trying to salvage the days he's had. He's not been one of the ones he's going to remember for a while.
He's going to need some either lap traffic luck for his rival, or no luck for Skeppy, or some uncharacteristic mistakes to come out of him. So even still, John needs to make up a lot of places, and all those places are basically, they're all spread out between each other. The closest ahead of him, Feta and Aiden, 4.1 seconds. So that shows you how much of a gap he's lost already to the race leaders after his early excursions off the racetrack.
Like you said earlier about the gap between Aiden and Feta closing in, there was a brief moment where it was about 3.5 seconds was the gap between the Ferrari and the Audi in front. As you actually can see, the Audi, oh, that's the Audi going off the track through the Villeneuve chicane and the run into Tosa. That is going to be into turn, I believe, into turn 6, into turn 7 now with Tosa. With Aiden trying to get back, that's going to be a huge mistake for Feta. He's not going to want to have that happen anymore. He's trying to weave not only to break the toe, but trying to also get the gravel off his tires, which is probably going to be locking him some grip going it through Piratella. You see Aiden a little bit more aggressive on the curb. He's going to go down into the run into Minerali. He's going to be sending down the inside. No, he's a little bit too far back, but look on the exit. That's going to be pitting from Neymar, like you said, with about an hour mark. Actually dead. Oh, Feta's off the track through Minerali.
Pushing too hard with the pressure from behind. Aiden is going to get through for 4th. Feta is going to be a bit angry about that one, but you can't drive mad in these cars. You cannot throw them into the corners. You have to make sure that they're comfortable with where you're placing them on the racetrack. So Feta's got to cool himself down, get himself back into a rhythm. Obviously, I said before, he's going to have to try and find his rhythm, because he's going to have cars in front of him now. And he had Jug, and now he's going to have Aiden ahead of him. So he has no pressure from Carnival behind, but he's going to have to get in that rhythm if he wants to hold down 5th place in this one.
Yep, and he still has that one stop remaining for the Audi, and if he does have the higher fuel load, which we expect he does, that is going to be something to look out for in that final stint. If Feta can get the consistency and then the rhythm going again like he did in the first stint, he could be someone to look out for in the second and final stint. Neymar has completed that final pit stop that he needed. He's going to be A-OK to the end of the Grand Prix unless he needs to make an additional stop, which for his sake he hopes he does not. He's P12 at the moment, and he's going to try to go to the end in the hot pink Aston Martin.
I'm thinking he wants another stop in this race, because he's going to be open for a safety car where he can bolt on some fresh tires towards the end of this one. So look out for him if we get a late safety car restart, because he has been known to make up positions on those things. He is quite aggressive but clean while he goes through the field. So keep an eye out for him if we get any late safety cars. It's not hard to keep an eye out for him. He's in a hot pink Aston Martin, so it'll be nice. Hopefully, for his sake, he gets that.
Well, we talked about how Aiden and Carnival had that little scrap going in.
Slowski in. So from 2nd place, he'll relinquish that, and he'll hit the lane for his final stop of the day. Carnival's got a drive-through.
Yes, it was the exit of Minerali. He went over the yellow sausage curves, which I told you to avoid, because not only for the cars, but that is completely off the track. Those 4 wheels off the curb, they're allowed to have in the white lines as well, and Carnival now have to serve that drive-through, which is unfortunate because he caught up right into the back of Feta into Ravazza 1.
That is quite unfortunate for Carnival. He was hoping to get a move on Feta, who is currently struggling in stint 2. Carnival is going to actually try and put a move on. That Lexus seems to have quite the good straight line speed that we've seen all day, and it's looking to prove it again on the Audi. He's looking to the inside for turn 1. It's not going to be there. Fetta's going to close it off. Carnival's going to have to go the long way around through turn 1, and he will. He'll go way later on the brakes, pops the inside curves in both 1 and 2, and he'll get the move on Fetta, but he still has to serve that drive-through.
Well, Solowski will come out, I believe, in P7. Where's Deer Hunter? He's actually passed him. So it's going to be P, what, 8?
And John's get by, yeah. He's going to be 9th, I believe, just ahead of Ichigo. Ichigo still rounding Ravazza 2 now. So Solowski going to come out in 8th.
So it's going to see how far can Solowski go here. Because, I mean, obviously he can go to the end of the Grand Prix with about 56 minutes to go. So it's going to be all on. He's the highest one with all those 2 stops completed. Carnival has to do a drive-throughs. Everyone in front of him, he's basically provisional P7. Fuki goes off the track, letting him by. You see the pink Aston Martin right in front of him. He said it's kind of hard to miss him. Well, you can't miss him here. He's right in front of Stowe.
That also means, if you think about it, Neymar is one of the first cars a lap down in this race because Stolowski was running 2nd. So that means Neymar must be in position to get a lap back under safety car. Obviously, I believe, yeah, everyone does get a lap back under safety car, but he's going to be first of those guys who have to get back around the track. They do sometimes have an advantage as well because they'll have warmer tires on the restart. So sometimes it's not a bad thing to be the first car a lap down if you get that safety car. So he's going to be hoping he does. But right now, it's really not looking like it's going to happen.
Carnival has to serve his drive through this lap. And actually, speaking of Stowe with the pitting, it's actually good for him because Juggernog was actually catching him by a decent amount. It was about 6 to 5 seconds or so. Got down for about 10, so about 5 seconds gained by the Ferrari on the McLaren. So is Jug going to respond, or is he going to stand out and try to hold the overcut, which we saw worked with the XD and the McLaren?
That's what I was going to say. Is it a good thing that Stoke had to pit, though? Because we saw it work with Ichigo earlier, and I think Jug could easily do the same if he has some clean laps coming up here, as he's probably entering his window in about 5 minutes' time. So we'll see how that plays out for him.
Yeah, that's another thing, because we don't know how much fuel Jug had in the first. Never mind, he's going in now.
So he's going to be cutting in. He's going to be trying to cover off Stowe. He'll come out behind him, I assume. I don't think Stowe made any mistakes on his outlaps. But yeah, Jug going to be covering him off. He's making his final stop of the day. Not too many in the fight for the win still yet to make stops. We've got Skeppy, maybe Aiden has a shot at a podium if he gets some luck coming in there. And Feta as well, I believe.
Whoa, what?
Feta
and Deer Hunter side by side through 16 into 17 of Ravazza. Deer was gaining on Feta. Feta's going to try to go the long way around Ravazza 1. It's going to be close. Deer Hunter's going to close the door and get P5 away from Feta.
I'm wondering if this is a mistake from Feta then.
May
with
have
the
been.
Fuel Carnival filing into the lane. I'm wondering if Feta just put enough fuel in to go to the end of the race. And he's absolutely struggling right now because he had to put like an hour and 15 minutes worth of fuel in that race car.
Here we go,
I
though.
think Skeppy might have halved it. So
it may have been the case, but let's see what happens between Stowe and Jug. Stowe's now onto the front straight through 19. Jug's now exiting the lane. In about a couple seconds, Stowe's going to easily get him.
Yeah, Stowe's going to get him, but how far back is Jug going to be? That's the real question. I think it's going to be about status quo, that 5-6 seconds mark between the two. We'll see at the split line here coming up in a moment. And here comes Jug to the line now. He'll be 4.0, so he gained maybe about a second there in that exchange on the overcut, as he's looking to get by Neymar here. Neymar obviously not making it easy as a lap car. I might have had a bit of contact there.
And again,
Jug giving a bit of a give him a bit of a swipe, saying, "Hey, I was there, and you're not on the same lap as me." So Jug gets by Neymar. Neymar hasn't made it easy for anyone getting by him today. He
really
runs
off
way
the
off.
track. Yeah, I was going to say he didn't make it easy for DXD. He made it a little bit easier for the likes of Stowe and a lot of the other lead cars, but it looks like he did not want to make it easy on Jug there. He did not want to give that inside for Tosa up, but Jug's like, okay, then I'll make my own way through Tosa. Gave a little bit of a bump and run.
Yeah. Interesting conversation in chat right now I'm starting to read, and it's about concentration of these guys. These guys aren't used to the extra hour. That's it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's double of what they're used to every week in, week out. And a lot of these guys making some debuts. Some are coming back from long breaks away from the game. It's a lot, and the driver concentration, you don't do a lot of 2-hour races in F1 games like these guys are used to, as that's a spin. Is that who I think it is? No, it's not. I thought it was Skeppy. I saw a 92 or a something 2. I thought it was Skeppy for a second. I was like, there's no way I've just jinxed him.
But yeah, another thing with that extra hour is, I mean, one thing the other guys don't really notice with these endurance races, it's not just you holding the wheel or controller, depending on what you use, it is also your brain. Your brain has to go for another extra hour. That mental endurance, it is so much harder with an extra hour, which you're not used to. Every time, you're like, I want this to be over. I want this to be done. Is this the last lap? You have to push that as far as you can, and for an hour, it's doable for some of these guys. But some of these guys have also not done 2 hours. The ones who haven't have to push for another hour. So it's going to be extremely more difficult for some of these guys. We'll see how that pays out.
Usually by now I'm interviewing your top 3 and we're getting out of here, but we've still got 50 minutes to go in this one until we get to our driver interviews. And I'm assuming we're going to be able to talk to maybe one of our championship winners. Piero Skeppy has led almost every lap today. Currently sitting out front, 39 laps completed. We're going to be about it's going to be about 55 laps around here when it's said and done. Aiden sitting in second, yet to make a stop, along with Deer, Feta, and John, your top 5, who have yet to make stops. And as I say that, here comes John into the lane for his final one of the day.
Where he comes out is going to be crucial, because right, like we said earlier with track position, now this is what you got. You've gone through about an hour and 10 minutes or so. This is what you have. This is your hand. You have to either improve as best you can from it, or you're stuck with it for the rest of the 50 or so minutes left. John, before that, was around 6th, 7th. So is he going to be in that 6th, 7th range, or is he going to be somewhere higher? We don't know.
Yeah, I said we know where they're going to be at the start of the race, probably towards the halfway mark. It turned out to be a little bit before that. And towards the end of this one, probably like 25 minutes to go, maybe I'd see maybe our last stops of the day. Maybe Feta comes in late. That's going to be it. And you won't know really where you're on the racetrack during these cycles. So John's going to see where he comes out now. It's not going to be great. It'll probably stay 9th. Unless that's Bowen. Actually, no, that it's going to be 10th place. Bowen does get by. He'll come out 10th. But crucially, he's ahead of Neymar and Fluky, who have made stops so far.
And be advised, the Calzoner and Redeemer are both out of the race.
Yeah, there's a car off, and I think that's Neymar.
It is Neymar.
Yeah, it is. It's Neymar off in the grass and gravel, coming back on the track behind Ichigo, so he's going to lose a little bit of spots. Guys like Carnival and Ichigo are to be praising that, because they won't have to try and pass Neymar on the racetrack. As we've seen, it's been difficult all day.
It doesn't make it easy for him, but it gives us a lot of entertainment up here.
By the way, remember how I said that you should keep an eye on that gap between Jug and Stolowski?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that gap is basically nothing by now.
I was having an eye on that for the past couple of laps. It was about 3.6, and then all of a sudden it was 2.9, and now it's 1.2. The last 3 laps have been on a roll for Jug. He's going to keep this Ferrari on a pounce. Stolowski is about provisional P2 at the moment. Jug is trying to make that his position. He wants this Ferrari to be on the second step of the podium, because that first step of the podium may be a little bit too far out of his reach. Skeppy's been on another okay, give me a second. Another level. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ahead of the competition today, and without any mistakes in his consistency that he's had so far through the 41 laps, it's been rivaled to none. So Jug is basically right now fighting for Stowe for this provisional P2 on the road.
Yeah, it's been a match right now from Skippy.
Oh, Stowe's off the track!
Oh, wow, the pressure from behind really getting to Stowe. I know some of the guys really like their clean air and their clean track, but man, it's been difficult for some of these guys when they've got a car right behind them in that mirror.
Yeah, through Minerali.
It's going to be tight here. I think Jug might have the straight line speed advantage on Stowe. Down the straight, if he can get close enough.
I mean, the Ferrari's been pretty quick on a straight line. McLaren, I mean, you've seen from DXD, you've seen from Solowski, and you've seen from the other McLaren of John. Whenever you're battling the likes of, I mean, actually, you've seen it from 3 different cars. The Audi, we've seen it from the Lexus and the Aston Martin. McLaren just seems to lack on the straight line. The Ferrari is gaining a bit on the McLaren, but he's not going to be close enough this time unless he sends it down the inside.
No.
Looking.
I don't think he's close enough at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, no way. But Stowe runs really deep into one from the pressure behind, and again it's caught him off guard. Here comes Jug to the outside. Stowe chopped the curb, and he's way off the racetrack. He's going to be losing a lot of time, and Jug will get through. It'll be P5 for now. Top 4 yet to pit, though. We'll see where it plays out for Jug after his spin earlier.
One thing I want to point out, and if this doesn't tell you how far ahead Scappy is, I don't think what will. Scappy's exiting Tosa, about to lap Stolowski. Aiden is entering turn 16, about to head up to Ravazza.
And that shows how dominant he's been today. It's incredible. It's really, I've not seen this. I've seen maybe Jug at Kyalami was close to this, but he only had 1 hour to break that gap. Skeppy's got 2, and we can't even see the gap back to Aiden on the
wait a minute.
Timing screen.
What has happened to Jug? Jug has a problem.
What? Oh no! Oh no!
He was really slow in the exit of Minerali, and I kind of saw it, but I didn't really expect anything from it. So I saw the silver Ferrari, the last silver Ferrari. So
the 3 cars that we usually see battling for their lead, they're all together, but not how we expected them. Skeppy lapping these guys, yet to make his final stop though, so we'll see where he falls out towards the end of this one. But Jug, slow off of the corner. It looks like he's got back going cleanly now, but did he pick up any damage or anything with that?
I'll look. From Jug's POV.
Oh, Stolowski off at turn 2. This is gonna get him lapped by Skeppy 100%. Here comes Jug, who's actually fighting back. It might be 3 wide. Never mind. Skeppy thinks better of it. It's still a long way to go here, as he's gonna let those 2 battle it out ahead of him. Jug looking for a move on Stolowski. It's not gonna be enough this time but they've unlapped themselves from Skeppy here, who's thinking about the long game, playing it smart. He knows these are the guys that he's fighting for the race win. There's no point entangling yourself in their battle at the moment, trying to catch you.
Wow, okay. I took a look at the replay, and I have no idea what happened to Jug. He was entering into the second part of Minerali, got on the power, and the car didn't go.
Wow.
It looks almost like the limiter was there, but he still was slowly accelerating, so I'm not sure if the limiter was actually active or not. It looks like he just got on the power.
Might have misclicked, yeah.
The car did not go.
Might have misclicked, and something must have happened with that engine. Either stalled it, or the pit limiter went on, or something, but he seems to be good now. I'm sure he's going to be wary of whatever he did. And he's going to be looking to get a move on Stolowski. He's a lot closer this time by, and Stolowski last time under pressure into turn 1 faulted. Skeppy into the lane behind them. He's playing the strategy out very nicely. So he's going to get away from them, away from whatever battle they're having, and get himself some clean track, hopefully.
Let's see, the last time through into Tamburello, we saw a lot of an action between Jug and Stolowski. This time it looks all good so far into Villeneuve, though. Is it going to be another send from Jug? No, it's not. Slow is going to be later on the brakes. And in the middle part of the corner, he is actually faster than the Ferrari. Now into Tosa. Looks like Jug's just going to be buying his own time.
Yeah, Jug and Stowe. This is going to be a battle. I think mainly for P2. I don't know there's any way they can catch Skeppy unless he gets himself a drive-through, stop, go, spins it out 3 times or something happens. This is a solidified second place battle for now. And Jug is looking to get by Stolowski. Jug's the faster car. There's no doubt about it. He's shown it the entire day. Stolowski did not qualify well. He's had the consistency compared to some of the other drivers. He runs off wide. Here comes Jug. Will he have a move into the chicane? This is a bold move if he can make it stick around the outside. It looks like he can't get there, though. Stolowski gonna stay ahead for now. So Skep coming out of the lane now with the limiter on. You can see they're heading to Ravazza 1 on the mini-map, Jug and Stowe. Skeppy is going to be way ahead of him. He's going to have about half a straight advantage on them. Probably 3/4 of the way down as he heads to turn 1 now, nice and easy. Make sure you keep the cold tires in check. He's going to be miles ahead. It'll probably be about 10 seconds or so. The gap from him all the way back. Probably more.
Oh, Jug and Stolowski on the outside of Tamburello. It's not going to work. Over the curbs, Jug is just not have to bide his time again. He tried to go for it, try to be aggressive, but Stolowski just did not give enough space for it because the corner just doesn't work. It's 2 into 1, especially 2 into turn 3. Doesn't work. Not with those curbs. Oh, Slow goes wide on the gravel.
Oh, Stowe off. And here comes Jug. That's the opportunity he was hoping for, and that's going to be a solidified position for him. And now it's whether or not he can track down your net race leader, BRL Skeppy. He's got a long way to go, I think. It's going to be a tall order for anyone to go catch him. But we'll see what he's got. Skep's entering the chicane now. And you can see the gap on the minimap. Jug's still a straight away.
It's about 15
30
or so seconds. It's the gap between Jug and Skeppy.
What? 39 minutes to try and make up 15 seconds. It's absolutely possible.
Not with that.
Jug really wide at the chicane. Here comes Stolowski. Does he have the run down into the next 2 corners? It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough. It looks like Jug is going to get away with that. But too many of those, and Stolowski's going to be hungry to get right back by.
Deer Hunter's in.
So Deer from the top 3 would make his final stop of the day with 39 minutes to go. Aiden's still chugging along out front. I think he's trying to go as long as possible along with Feta. Maybe hope for that safety car, which has not come out yet today, by the way, which shows how great some of these guys have been doing today. It's been awesome to see. Only self-spins that we've really seen today, so it's been a great clean race, and we've had a lot of action to report on so far. I've really enjoyed it today, so we'll see if it works out for them. Bowen's coming out of the lane as well, finishing his mandatory stop. He'll come out behind John. I believe he'll stay ahead of Neymar. Yes, he will. No, he won't, actually. He's going to be behind Neymar. He'll have to try and chase him down in the 10th spot. So, fighting for a top 10. Not points particularly, but still a solid finish regardless.
Well, don't look now. And I know he hasn't made his stop yet, but he still has to be passed on the road. Juggernaut has caught Feta in the Audi for P3 right now. This will put him provisionally P3 on the road with still Aiden and Feta yet to pit. It'll be P2 once they have completed their pit stops. Feta and the Audi have been struggling.
And this, by the way, Audis seem to be on similar strategies at the beginning of the race. They've split off towards the middle. Not sure how much they're working together. Not sure if they're in a party together, but you know that Feta's going to be trying to hold on here as much as he can for his teammate up the road, Skeppy.
Well, Jug's got a really good exit at the exit of Ravazza. Jug's pitting.
Jug's pitting. I'm speechless. I don't understand.
Maybe he has damage. Maybe the bump with Neymar, or maybe there was something else that we did not see. Maybe he had some damages, I don't think. Or maybe maybe he didn't put enough fuel in the car.
Maybe that could be that could be it, really. Doesn't have enough fuel to go to the end, so might as well make it stop now. But that's a devastating blow to Jug, who we thought might be the one to challenge Skeppy for the race win later on.
Now it's up to Stolowski, who's actually got a better exit, the exit of Villeneuve down the inside, looking for Fantosa.
Oh.
Not close enough.
Just can't get it.
Oh, on the grass on the exit.
Oh, wow. Really, you're getting bold with the move. Can't get past the Audi, though. The story of the race, really. Can't get past the Audi. Different Audi, though, with Feta. Here comes Stolowski, though, to the outside. It'll turn to the inside for the next 2 corners.
Oh, they're going to touch.
Contact made. Feta's going to go off the road. He keeps it in a straight line. Good save from Feta there. You can see the car getting away from him there on the exit curb. But Stolowski gets by Aiden into the lane for his final stop of the day. It'll leave Feta, Ichigo, and Carnival, the last 3, to make their pit stops tonight.
See where they filter out. I mean, see, Feta's have, obviously we've seen he has a lot of fuel on board, because that's just what we've pretty much assumed.
There's no way he was that slow.
Exactly, because he's been struggling ever since that first pit stop. You see him sliding in the exit of Ravatsa too. I mean, the car just does not seem to give what he's wanting. Either he's upset, or the car just doesn't handle the same with higher fuel loads, and he needs to burn them off as quickly as possible before the last final stint. But Stolowski, we've seen him, he's made some mistakes when pressure was put, but whenever he's been by himself, he's been rapid. So now that he has basically, oh, never mind! Hit the exit curb,
that is way
curb.
off. And here comes Feta, but he can't get the move done just yet. He runs a wide, still side by side with Stolowski. Feta ran deep into 1. Stolowski ran off at turn 2. It kind of balanced it out almost, as Stolowski's going to stay ahead of Feta after both of them make mistakes through the turn 1s through 3 sequence.
You know, I guess I should just stop talking when it comes to people like that, because that's another one. And Feta went really deep, locking up the rears through Tosa. That's going to put him at another gap, about 5 seconds or so to a second behind the McLaren, which he had a pretty good chance to challenge after the mistake. But great save from Stolowski on the exit curb, because he was on the apex, got that such curb, which once again I warned to stay off of, because especially what we've seen so far today, the McLaren has not been good over those curbs.
No, it has not been good over those yellow sausage curves anywhere on this racetrack, and it's been difficult for them to manage. We've seen John, the championship hopeful. He's had some run-ins with them today. Ichigo obviously has not had the greatest day. He's on a comeback drive, though. He's sitting 4th, yet to make his stop.
Jug's
we'll see where he filters out. Jug again into the lane? There's no way.
There has to be a problem.
There has to be some kind of mechanical problem in the race car or something.
Because, like I said, remember when the replay, whenever he was slow, he hit the gas, the car accelerated,
and it just
didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was a misinput. I think there was actually something morally wrong with this Ferrari here. Either that or his actual rig. Feta's in.
Okay, so Feta in for his final stop of the day with half an hour left in the race. Surprisingly, he didn't go as far as I thought he would. But I'm assuming he just wants to get off those tires and wants a fresh start to his race, because he's struggled this second stint compared to stint 1, where he was running in the clean air and maintaining the gap to race leader Skeppy. So, yeah, it'll put a dent in his ego, but hopefully this final stint here he can make up some positions or hold station in the points. That would be a great day for him today.
We'll have to see. Obviously, 2 people left to make their stop, Carnival and DXD. Both drivers we've seen up here on the plus side of the top 5, with Carnival being 3rd at one point, DXD being 4th at one point, and actually being 3rd right now. You've seen him, and you've seen both of them actually very quick at times. You saw Carnival P3 in the first stint, holding off a lot of drivers, but with a couple mistakes that had the drive-through from track limits, and DXD's penalty with the malfunction with the pit limiter. Both of those guys, the penalty's costly for those two, though they are both 3rd and 4th, but they still have to make that stop. They may come out behind John, maybe even behind Feta in their gap and battle to the rest of the race.
Feta almost picked himself up a penalty for crossing the white line on the pit exit there, but he seems to be good to go. He's going to come out in 8th place, I believe. He'll be right behind John.
DXT is in.
Actually, not right behind John. He's quite a ways off, but he's going to have some clean air to work with here ahead of him, and we'll see where he falls out after these two ahead of him make their final stops.
Let's see, there's about 30 minutes left to go left in the Grand Prix. This is pretty much the money time, the money stop, especially for DXT and for Carnival, trying to get the best they possibly can, try to avoid any penalties or any, I guess, malfunctions with the car. We still have yet to see word on what happened to Jug, but he is still in the pit lane. He is now 3 laps down and is going to be well out of the points and any chance for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Deer Hunter, by the way. It's going to be 5th place after Ichigo filters out of the pit lane, I believe. Unless Ichigo actually... No, Ichigo's still in the lane. So, Deer Hunter's going to be top 5, which would be an amazing result for his season after the ups and downs that he's had. Run-ins with Neymar have been the story of his entire season. But a top 5 to finish it would be a great way to finish it off here in Imola.
See, DXT may actually jump Feta here. He's going to.
I think he will, yeah. So, or will Feta have the overspeed coming down the main straight? No, he's not going to be close enough at all. So, DXT has jumped Feta, and I'm wondering if this is just inexperience from Feta on how to run the long race, how to refuel mainly, because it seems like he's refueled both times in the lane for quite a while.
He has. Maybe he put too much fuel in the car again. We'll have to keep an eye on him and see what the car is to his liking, like he was in the first stint, or if it was like it was the second stint. If he put too much fuel in the car again, Feta's going to be dropping off. But luckily for him, Tess Bowen is about a lap off of him, who's actually been overtaken by Aiden going into Rabatza 1, going a little bit wide going through, but Aiden now is going to be up into the podium places once Carnival does come in for his final stop of the day. He is the last one to pit.
Yeah, Carnival holding on to 3rd right now. We'll see how much fuel he's still got left in that Lexus and how much tire grip he's still got left on that thing. So, running 3rd at the moment, he's probably going to drop somewhere with Ichigo and Feta around that 7th, 8th place mark. But, yeah, not too bad from him. Again in the Lexus with Deer. Both having solid runs. They've been very consistent. They haven't been the fastest cars by a long shot, but they've been consistent enough and they've gotten themselves in the points today.
Which is all you really can ask for. So, we just got to see how they filter out the rest of the Grand Prix. I believe Carnival will come back around, maybe even behind Feta. So if that is the case, we could see a Lexus in P4 with Deer Hunter and maybe even a double points for Carnival. But like you said, Lexus has been pretty quick at some points in the Grand Prix today, with Carnival being up into P3 earlier, like I said, and with Deer running consistently 5th, 6th. So Lexus has done what they had to today in this 2-hour race with about 28 minutes left to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking earlier about how the Lexus is not the fastest car at all, and it's not going to be a car that wins you a lot of races. But it's an easy car to drive, and it's proving so today in a 2-hour-long race. They're an hour and a half in, half an hour to go. But I haven't seen any mistakes from Cold Carnivore Deer Hunter that have cost them that much time compared to some mistakes we've seen from guys like Ichigo, John, who are behind them right now in faster cars. It's been incredible to see the Lexus is really thriving in this longer race pursuit.
50 laps complete. We're about to be completing lap 51. Skeppy going through Variante Alta with Stowe. That is going to be actually, I believe that is Fluky going wide at the exit of
6 seconds.
Skeppy probably could easily coast, trying to make little to no mistakes as possible, like he's been doing the whole entire Grand Prix. Doesn't have to push, because that gap is clearly enough to probably ride back on for the rest of the 27 minutes, but he can't get too comfortable as he just try not to make any mistakes, which he has done. Oh, Deer Hunter makes a mistake going through
Oh dear.
Villeneuve. He gets back going. He went wide in the exit of turn 6 and went on the gravel trap, which he's done a couple times so far today. That is going to be 2 pink cars up front. That is going to be Neymar. Actually, it was not pink. It was a reddish blue, but due to the, I guess, the long way away. Neymar going a little bit wide through Piratella. But those two battling for position, P9 on the road. Neymar has tried his best to fight back after a very, I guess we could say, extreme strategy. Where if it would have worked, it could have possibly been a strategy to come back here and say that was absolutely incredible. But unfortunately, it did not work for Neymar. But now he's going to chase after his Aston Martin teammate and Tess Bowen, who's actually had a really good run so far today. I've seen only a lot of support for him in the comments as well. So we'll see how well Bowen can finish out. Can Neymar get P9, or is Bowen going to be P9? Who's going to be the highest Aston Martin out of those two come the checkered flag?
Neymar says he's swapping cars next season. He's not enjoying his Aston Martin experience. He said looking for something that will suit the controller a little bit better. Mainly, I heard the Bentley might be the best option for him because of how it can take curbs. So we'll see what he decides for next season. See if it brings him up the order a little bit. He loved the wet race in the Nürburgring in Germany. Hasn't had too much success since. He had the great result at Olten. Other than that, it really hasn't been a great season for him. But, I mean, better than what I could do on a controller, on a sim for sure. So, hats off to him and anyone in the field using their little thumbsticks on their controllers. All I can do on a controller is swap here between your camera angles for your race cars. So, it's incredible to watch how some of these guys can work their fingers to be that precise.
Yeah, it's something the legend will never know exactly how well they do it until you get onto ACC. Look at Neymar. This is the second season he's used this controller, and man, he has definitely been something to look out for. So at most of the time, he is something that you can honestly, and someone you honestly at any moment could possibly show you exactly how fast he could be. And on a simulator, on a controller, that's incredible.
Yeah, you don't see anyone on iRacing going on a controller. Obviously, it's on a PC, so most of them will have sim rates and wheels, but you don't see many on iRacing on a controller. You won't see many on ACC on a controller. You'll see more on the console side for sure, but yeah, realistically, a lot of the guys that I've seen pick up this game with a controller and play, they've refunded the game. It's not a fun experience if you don't know how to drive it. Cold Carnival is in for his final stop of the day, and 24 minutes to go. That's a very late one, and he'll finish out your field for mandatory stops.
And I have just noticed, and not exactly sure when exactly this has happened, but Juggernog is out of the 2 hours of Imola.
So not the day he would have wanted to finish the season with, and it's actually going to be quite close between him and Stolowski in the championship standings. I'll have to look at the count back on that later, because Jug was running third, 9 points ahead of Stowe.
Well, if
Stowe's running second, it's yeah, I think Jug will hold on to third unless Stowe can get the win, so we will see.
Like I said, a lot of action all throughout the field, not just the championship, which was actually, let's give you a little bit of update right now. 23 laps to go, 23 minutes to go, 54 laps completed. There we go, I got it out. John is about, he's exiting Minerali now. Skeppy is exiting Tosa, so that is the gap between Skeppy and John. John needed to win the Grand Prix, and Skeppy finish 8th or lower, which we don't think that is actually going to, at the moment, as it runs, it will definitely go to Skeppy in the Audi, and it does not look like it will go that way. Carnival looks like
it's going to be a Skeppy race to keep, but yeah, I think Carnival, he's been in the lane for a very long time. I would have thought this would have been a very quick stop.
Yeah.
To put it on the tires and go, but does not seem to be the case for him. He's going to be... Is he going to be ahead of Bowen and Neymar?
No, they passed through.
Oh, wow, okay. So Carnival going to drop outside the points. That means between the Astons, they're going to be fighting for the final points winning position tonight, which gives a bit more of an incentive between these two to fight a little bit more.
Yeah. Bowen having a really, really, really good performance, and we've seen, like I said earlier, a lot of support for him, and Neymar trying to get the absolute insane recovery drive after this extreme strategy. Didn't seem to pay off. So if Neymar can grab that 1 point, that'll be absolutely amazing for him and his Aston Martin. But Bowen grabbing a point would absolutely probably be the best thing for him as well. That'll give a big boost going into the season break and the season end, I should say. But we'll see what these two can do in the final about 21 minutes left to go.
Little question in the chat. Do you think they will make an Assetto Corsa 2? Feels like the game would be almost perfect with better graphics. Well, we're on a console, so the graphics aren't going to be amazing anyway, plus the frame rate isn't going to be great. But I don't know if they would ever make a second iteration of this game, maybe with more cars. But I feel like they would just do a DLC if they wanted to do that, so I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on another iteration of this game, or what? Do you think they would just do like DLC, or?
I don't know. It really depends, because obviously they have the GT4s as well as this game, and the actual Assetto Corsa.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to focus on that, so they would probably focus on Competizione like they're doing now, and they could possibly do a DLC with like maybe the prototype cars, or maybe even maybe a more branched out Super Trofeo or other kind of series like that. So they already have Super Trofeo, but not focused on it. But maybe a full in-depth. I don't think they would give another, I guess, sequel to it. But meanwhile, Carnival, I'd like to point out, it's still there. He's still getting service. It's not been completed at all.
That's interesting, because I feel like he would have been in the points if he got back underway. But that might be his day done if he's had a malfunction in the pit lane. That would bring us down to 10 runners, I believe, because Fluky 4 also in the lane, not moving. So, don't know.
Well, looking at it now, Neymar and the gap between him and Bowen has increased about 3 seconds. Neymar with a little bit of a mistake, but directly behind him...
Yeah, by the way, right behind Neymar.
Yeah,
I was about to say. And John. Deere and John fighting for 4th place. It's not what John would have wanted tonight to fight for 4th place, but it's been a good comeback drive considering the start he had today. And 2 comeback drives in a row from him. Last week at Silverstone, bringing the championship fight to Imola where he had a shot, but unfortunately it just has not been his day today. And yeah, he's relinquished in 5th place at the moment. He's got Deer Hunter right ahead of him in the Lexus, but then it's another 10 seconds up the road to Aiden, who has been very consistent today, and we might see him in some podium interviews in a couple minutes' time.
Huge checkup.
Oh, very close, yeah. Oh, contact between Deer and guess who? BRL Neymar. The two always find each other on the racetrack. Deer trying to go up the inside. John backed off the back of the two.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Neymar went along the outside way.
Deer Hunter popped the inside curb. Neymar ran off, and somehow, some way out of all that, they've got back going in the straight line. Neymar's lost time to Bowen ahead, but I don't understand how.
I don't either.
They have always found a way to battle each other on the racetrack this year.
It reminds me of almost like the, I guess you could say the relationship between like last season with DXD and Jug, or Deer Hunter was tapped out by John.
Deer Hunter just got. John has moved Deer Hunter out of the way for 4th place. That might be inquired later on tonight if submitted. But yeah, wow, I was not expecting that.
I wasn't either.
At all.
what's funny, and I find it really, I guess, comedic timing, I guess you could say, is while Deere and Neymar were having their scrap, and honestly, look, Deere was about to spin Neymar around. While that was happening, John lost the car and had to save it too. So if John, actually, I guess, well, it depends how you say it. Luckily for Deere, and I guess unfortunately for John, that save actually probably helped Deer Hunter have that position for a little bit longer, but unfortunately we figured out how that turned out through Minerali.
Yeah, very interesting exchange. I don't think Deer's going to be able to catch back up to John. John has a lot of pace right now towards the back end of this race. We'll see if he can chase down Aiden for a spot on the podium to get ourselves a Skep Stowe John 1, 2, 3 like we see a lot of the time. Usually we do see Jug in the mix as well, but unfortunately the DNF today means that will not be possible.
Well,
but 13 seconds, I don't know.
It's gonna be a tall order. It needs to be about a lap faster on average than Aiden, which he actually did gain about a second through the first 2 sectors on Aiden. But can he do that for the entire 16 minutes or so? And another thing is you can catch someone, but it's going to be harder to overtake someone, as you saw many times. You can either go down the inside, which we saw a couple times, but how often can you do that before it gets a little bit too tense? And Aiden, I'm sure if he wants this podium more than anyone, John wants this podium to get back, because he had a horrible race. He wants to at least have a podium out of it. So these guys are going to be really wanting this podium. It's all order. Taylor.
I had to go switch to him to make sure he wasn't doing donuts in the pit lane. But, yeah, now Stolowski making a mistake here. 30 seconds is the gap to him, from him to Skeppy. We're going to need a miracle to see Skeppy lose this one.
Oh, don't say that. Because you'll know, with our luck, we'll flip Skeppy and he's upside down somewhere. So, let's not do that.
We do a little bit of
trouble. But it's been a great race, not only for Skeppy, but we've seen a lot of drivers. Aiden up here in the podium positions. Deer Hunter having a really good race. DXD and John both with a really good recovery. Feta in P7, he's made a good showing out. If his, I guess, uncomfortableness with the car didn't happen, he could have been up there a little bit more. Tesboing up in the points with a great race for him in the Aston Martin team. Neymar trying his best to get back to 9th, who's actually, ironically, guess who's next to him?
Oh dear.
Deer Hunter.
Oh Deer Hunter. Back again for some more action between the two that absolutely love to battle with each other. That is definitely not a joke. Please keep battling. It's very good for my entertainment.
Deer almost
big
lost
snap
that.
of oversteer. Yeah. Right. Too much curve through the chicane. By the way, I would like to, before we get into a little more action between these two, I'll give you a massive shout out to you guys watching at home, because we've averaged about 18 to 20 or so viewers this entire 2-hour race. So thank you so much to everyone at home watching, and I can't really keep myself sane without you guys. So it's been a really fun season, and I'm glad to see it end on a high note with you guys. Hopefully we continue this viewership with the last couple minutes of this race as we get Deer Hunter going down the inside of Neymar.
Oh, that was close. Deer Hunter
runs off. Yeah, he could make the corner for turn 2, and he'll stay ahead of Neymar. It's not like he has to give a position back. They're not on the same lap. But, oh, Neymar really late on the brakes. He's trying to go down the inside of Deer. Deer a little bit too cautious into the next turn, and Neymar is going to get by.
The way these two are fighting, you would think this is for the championship, but this is actually not even for position.
This isn't for anything. This isn't for a position on the racetrack. This isn't for a position in the championship. These two are just going at it for fun. A little bit of Daytona style here from Big Deer Hunter, coming down the inside of redneck just came out. Trying to go down the inside of Neymar, but won't have anything to do. These guys know they're kind of safe from where they are. Neymar's fallen way off the back of Bowen. Deer Hunter's got a nice gap back to Ichigo, so as long as they don't take each other out here, they can have a little bit of fun in these final couple minutes.
Talking about fun, I think that fun's about to be coming to an end for Aiden. He needs to get the move on.
I agree.
Look at John. He's down to 7.5 seconds. In the last couple of laps, he has gained about 5 seconds on that Ferrari. This is not over for third.
It's not at all. Here comes... Oh, Deer Hunter's giving
Neymar
the boot! And Neymar around at the final corner. Don't collect another car. We don't want Taylor out in the last 10 minutes of this race, or do we?
I'm just cutting some grass here.
There's Skeppy getting by. Neymar does not get into him. If you remember a couple weeks back, Skeppy T-boned someone. So unfortunately for him, that has not happened this time.
Unfortunately for
Neymar
him.
gets back going. I almost said I'm getting tired here. It's been an hour and 50 minutes now. So.
Who said the mental endurance isn't just for drivers?
Yeah, I've seen myself slip in some of the hour-long races when I'm by myself, so the extra hour has not helped me.
Well, I don't know.
I've had a lot of fun.
I have no idea how much damage Deer Hunter is. Oh, this is, of course, some fun. You gotta know that. Everyone may think that commentating is just nothing but talking, but you have a lot of fun up here. You know, it's not just that you're talking and providing a nice race to everyone in the audience watching, but you're also, I guess, surrounding yourself in not only the action, but all the emotions, the adrenaline, the happiness, the sadness,
Absolutely.
the anger. You get all of that, and it's honestly, to me, which I don't know how, I can't speak for you because you're in like 7 leagues or something crazy. But to me, it's honestly more of a rush than winning a race. Oh, then again, I've only done it once. All right, racing a race. How about that? So
There
it's
you go. Maybe a podium.
yeah, I don't know what those are.
Oh, no.
But DXD
Aiden into the lane.
Oh, he
Aiden
is.
into the lane.
Is he out of
Couldn't
gas?
make it on fuel. He had to be. There's no way he would have stopped with 9 minutes left. He has to be out of fuel.
Wow.
That is a shame.
That's a huge shame.
I was gonna mention it, but it completely glossed over my mind. We had a battle or something happening earlier in the race. I was like, don't forget, these guys haven't done this before. They haven't refueled. What if they slip up?
Exactly.
You never know.
I believe it was actually
And
during
we've
qualifying
seen one.
too.
We've seen one car slip up now. That's Aiden, who had to make an early stop. That begs the question, does anyone else have any problems?
Well, don't look now, but I believe it was... I can't remember if it was last season in ACC. I believe Skeppy had the same problem. I guarantee you he's not going to be the only one that may be thinking that did I get all this right? I mean, like you said earlier, Deer Hunter ran out of gas in round 1 on lap 3. So everyone's going to be checking themselves, making sure they can make it. This is where the doubt comes in. There's 10 minutes left, actually 9. So not only are you trying to push for these last positions, you're going to now, the mental awareness is going to be lower because you've been around this track for 2 hours almost. You're now going to be doubting yourself. Are you going to be, is this going to be go to the end? Am I going to be able to stay on the track long enough? Am I going to keep this pace up? These thoughts are going to come in your head, and you're going to have to try to fight them back. And if you're smart enough to really do the math while you're driving, that will probably help you out.
Difficult.
But if not, it's difficult. Like you just said, it could come back to bite you. So you just got to trust yourself. And if you're wrong, try your best to recuperate and try to make it at the end as best you can. That's
So
all you got to
Aiden
do.
knew he was not going to make it. I know on the dash in the bottom right-hand side of the corner when you're driving, you get an estimate on your fuel, how many laps you can do. And in your setup menu, you get how many liters per lap your car uses. Obviously, Aiden knew it wasn't going to be enough. He was going to run out of fuel at the end of this race. He knew, okay, 9 minutes to go. How many laps about is that going to be? Do I have enough laps in this bottom right-hand corner to where I can get to the end? We have a spinner. I believe that's Neymar off at the chicane. Yes, it is. He's going to get passed by Gucci Lucci. And Stowe giving him a visit on the exit of the chicane.
Well, don't look now. The best or the closest battle we have right now, with about 7 minutes to go, is about 1.2 seconds. Deer and DXD battling for 4th. This will be a great finish for Deer Hunter. Like you said, he's been up and down this season, and he needs a good finish. DXD, he's fighting for a recovery drive. He could have been P4 all day, if not even P3 or P2, with the mistakes that Stowe and John have made so far this race. He wants a little bit of comeback. He wants P4, and if, like I said, this doubt starts creeping into people, and more people like Aiden have to possibly pit because they don't have enough fuel or they're not going to make it, he wants that opportunity to get this podium. But right now he's on the back of Deer Hunter and the exit of Minerali, and the Vandancy Alta. He's going to try to look for a move. Looks to the right, goes to the left.
To the outside now.
It's not going to get it that time.
He goes, won't get it done. No, he's not going to get it that time, but he gets a good drive off compared to Deer, and he's got a run down. Will he be able to get to the inside, to the outside? Where's he going to go? It doesn't look like he's kind of slowed his momentum from too many swerves. We'll see if he can get a good run out of the final corner here. Neymar into the lane. I think that is probably going to be his season done. Unfortunately, he'll finish out in 10th place. So strategy did not work for him today. Unfortunately, I really was hoping to see it work today, but not to be.
This is not like Formula 1 when it comes with the moves on the straightaway. You are actually allowed to slightly block if necessary. That's what Deer Hunter did down into 16 into Ravazza. It's legal. He just has to make sure it's not over that line. DXD knows that. He runs a little bit too far over the line of the track.
Yeah.
Thinking leave him to the line. See, DXD needs to get this done. Deer Hunter wants this 4th. DXD obviously wants the 4th as well. Who wants it more?
I'm thinking DXD wants it more. He's been the more aggressive driver so far. He's been looking for moves on almost every corner on this racetrack. And for me, and I believe Ichigo said it earlier in the racetrack, or in the chat, sorry, not on the race. You can't say it on the racetrack. In the chat, he said earlier while he was in a pit stop, he said, my pace was dead even with the front runners, so very happy. And it's gotta be a what could have been for Ichigo at this point. Both running really wide there. There's Skeppy in the background, by the way, behind them, about to lap him, by the way. He's lapped up to 6th place in this race. But yeah, it's a what could have been for Ichigo. The stop go 30 seconds. That's cost him at least 50 seconds to his total race time. That could put him up to 2nd place here.
Exactly.
If
Looking for the move. Deer once again closes the door.
But that's going to compromise the run through the middle of these two corners. Will he get a good run out? It looks like he's done enough to stay ahead of Ichigo. 4.5 minutes to go until we crown a champion. And it's looking at this moment to be BRL Skeppy, who is leading this race. Unless something catastrophic happens to him, it's going to be a championship in his first league racing championship at that for the old man.
Yeah, he's not that old.
Oh,
Deer Hunter
he's in the gravel. He's in the gravel as I say that.
Oh, so is
DXD. Off
behind
them. DXD trying to look for a move on Deer Hunter. It's not going to be enough, though. Oh, wow, he gets really nice on the brakes through there.
He's going to look for it in Tosa. He's going to the inside. He looks for it. Deer Hunter shuts the door. He's going to try to go and run a late apex, get a better run off the corner of Tosa into Piratella. Looks like he has that. The slipstream once again. He's going to the left-hand side. Go to the outside for turn 8 into 9.
Deer Hunter trying to block it.
Around the outside.
Wow, around the outside. No, that's no way. No way he was making that corner. He went so late. And now here comes Skeppy. Skeppy's running to the only battle on the racetrack at the moment. Great luck for the race leader. But these guys don't have to obey the blue flags as strictly as you would in Formula 1. It's not to the levels of NASCAR where you don't have to let them by at all if you don't want to. But
here he goes again.
It's not as bad. And here comes Ichigo. He's looking to make it too wide into the final two corners. He's got the space this time. Deer Hunter has to leave it on the outside. Ichigo deeper on the brakes, but can't get the drive off. Here comes Skeppy now into the fray.
DXC needs to get this done. He wants to get past Deer Hunter before he has to let Skeppy by, because once the time runs out, the leader, I believe it is +1 lap. Am I wrong? Unless they cross the line as the timer expires.
It'll be once they the timer realizes they can't do another lap. It'll be the final lap for whatever they're on. So
Exactly. He wants that to not happen. DXD goes wide. That's going to be
Oh,
it.
wow. DXD will get passed by Skeppy, but can he use Skeppy to try and force a move onto Deer Hunter? It might work out for him in the end here. We'll see as they continue to battle. I'm trying to look at the gap just in case from Stowe to John. It's 37 seconds, never mind. As
Skeppy just lets DXD by.
Skeppy lets DXD
like, I'm
by.
not
He's
having
trying
any
to
of
be
this.
smart. He's being smart about this.
Yeah.
He knows he just needs to wrap up this race as quickly as he can. And honestly, if he just backs off here, it'll be one to go this time by.
I can hear him laughing from here. I think he has the biggest smile on his face. He
He's
wants
definitely
this little bit of entertainment.
He's definitely having a good time behind these two, and he knows it's all but over at this point. Here comes Ichigo. He's looking so desperately trying to get the move on Deer. It's not going to be enough into the chicane, but can he get the runoff? He's been great on the launches out of the chicane, but he just can't get the move to stick down into the final two corners. It just has not worked out for him.
Well, Deer's been really extremely defensive, and that's one thing that DXD has to use to his advantage. He needs to try to bait Deer Hunter into defending, cutting his line shallow and getting all the way around the outside. He can do it at Tamburello. He couldn't do it at Villeneuve, so it's going to have to happen soon. And if it's not this lap, it's not going to be any time ever. So there's one lap to go.
Final lap. Give it a final push.
So leader on the final lap, but these guys will technically have 2 to go if they can stay ahead of that Audi right behind them. So as long as they don't take each other off the road, they'll have 2 laps to try and sort this one out. So we'll have some entertainment as the rest of the field finishes.
Neymar.
There's Neymar going for a little bit of a victory lap behind Skeppy, I assume. Just trying to round out his season, but close again between these 3. 2 of them fighting for position. The McLaren of Ichigo trying to go up the inside. A bit of contact. Deer tried to shut the door. Ichigo forcing it open. Here comes Skeppy. He's going to try and lap him here as he'll lap Deer. But if he only laps one of them, that means the position is safe for the other. So it's going to be whether or not Deer can either get by Skeppy for another lap, or can Skeppy get by Ichigo?
Because, yeah, like you said, the position would be safe, because if there is a steward's inquiry, if DXD completes this lap and Deer is stuck behind Skeppy's letting Deer by.
Oh, he's going to let him go. He's going to let him battle. So Skeppy wants to see this one play out in the menus at the end of this one. He's rounding the final couple corners.
Neymar!
It's been there's Neymar pulling along. He's got himself a drive-through on
He's
the
just
side.
cut through some grass here.
But it's been an incredible season. So many second places, 1 win on the season. It's going to be 2 wins for BRL Skeppy. Rounding the final corner, there's no doubt about it who's your championship winner. It is this man right here, the number 92 Audi. He's had an incredible season. BRL Skeppy's going to round the final corner and win in Imola. He wins the BRL ACC Season 2 championship over the guy in third, John Stolowski's going to come around and take second place. Neymar has absolutely punted Skeppy into the oblivion at the finish. Stolowski's going to come around for a solid second place on his alternate strategy tonight. And it'll be a solid finish for him today. I'm going to keep an eye on Ichigo and Deer as they round their final lap through Sector 1, the middle of Sector 2 now. John's going to come home third. It's a what could have been in the championship, unfortunately for him. He won't take home the drivers. It's a respectable second place, though, and an incredible season for him. We'll see how he comes back stronger next season, hopefully. And this battle for fourth will ensue.
Oh, Deer goes wide, and I think Deer is honestly probably fed up with this. He's been punted about a couple times, so I believe he wants to have a little bit of fun this time. If he's going to see how DXD raced him, he's probably going to get back and try to see if he can do it himself. DXD was a little bit timid through the chicane.
He has gained a lot of time. Yeah, he's found a lot of time through that chicane into the final 2 corners. This is it for on track. Fetta's finished P6. Aiden, after the 3 stop, will finish 7th. Bowen will round out your points in 8th, so a solid drive from him today in 8th. But how about this for fourth. Here comes Deere. He's trying to put the bumper to it, but he can't. It's going to be Ichigo who's going to hold on for fourth. Deere tried everything he could into the final corner. Just was not close enough. I'll give him props for that. He might inquire to the stewards about Ichigo's moves later on as they cross the finish line to finish this season. Fuki 4 will be waiting for him to cross the line to finish the session. Never mind, it is ended now. So there is your final results of the day. BRL Skeppy wins. 42 seconds is the gap. It was utter domination today. There was no doubt in anyone's mind who would win the championship after that one. Skeppy brings home first, Stolowski second, John rounds out your podium. We'll talk to them all today, and we'll see if anyone else wants to hop in for a post-season interview as well, if you don't mind.
Skeppy.
Hosting a little bit of that. We'll see if we can get our drivers into the party here. Is one, and we see if I can get. Alright, thank you. Alright, so we have all three now in the party. Make sure you guys include your audio if you have not already. It'll be second place today. A solid finish to the season. Point in your mind where you thought it would be more or less than the second place today.
Well, I mean, the cars felt terrible the entire weekend. I think that showed in qualifying. I guess towards the beginning, I had a really good start, and that set me up pretty well for the rest of the race. And there was a moment where I was 2 seconds back from Jug and Skeppy, where I thought, okay, maybe I am in the mix of this, and I don't know, I just did not have the long-term pace. After about 20-30 minutes, the tires were just completely gone, and it felt like I was driving in the rain, especially the last stint. So it was just a struggle the whole race, so to pull out a P2 is pretty good to me. So
yeah, you had a couple battles with Jug and a couple others, John as well. I believe McLaren does get the constructors, so congratulations for you and John on that front. But yeah, strategy-wise, you were a bit off sequence towards the beginning of the race. Did you have anything on that? Was it tire-wise? Was it the fuel that you were putting in the car?
we'll see. My strategy was kind of dependent on a safety car. I was really thinking there was going to be one in like the first 30 minutes, so I planned a shorter first stint, but nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing came to be the entire race, which I found surprising. I'm sure Katra did as well. Katra, if you want to move to third place, finish your second in the driver's standings, John.
So it was not necessarily the day you needed. I mean, going into the day, you needed a win, and Skeppy finishing 8th or below. Or you could have honestly had a P2 to tie it and honestly win with him not scoring any points, but that is just not exactly what happened at all. The qualifying was... Well, let's just start with qualifying. What do you think exactly happened there?
It was, I mean, I definitely could have improved and gotten pole, but obviously I've had struggle with that all season, just trying to nail the best lap I can, but really that's pretty much it. Once again, I just struggled to get the best lap out of it and just couldn't.
Yeah. Well, obviously you're not going to get points from qualifying, so that was just, I guess, one tiny setback, but you've obviously had enough time to go and try to recuperate that and try to get ahead of Skeppy. But from lap 1 on in that first stint, it seems like there was some moments where you had that raw pace to get past Skeppy, but then things kind of came crashing down from there. So what happened is actually from your POV from the race, especially the first stint and the second stint?
I mean, The setup felt fine for like the first couple laps of the first stint, and then all of a sudden it's like the track got hotter by like a degree or two, and all of a sudden I had like no rear grip at all, and then I'm sliding around the whole track, and obviously, and then I'm causing myself to hit curves which I shouldn't be hitting in the first place. So that's not helping me either. Losing more time, and then the multiple spins I had, that didn't help me either. So I mean, there was a lot. That was probably the most miserable race I've ever had in my life, and somehow still finished P3, which I was telling them in the race. I was like, I'd be laughing at myself if I was to say I would finish P3 after basically being down in like 11th and 12th, but still like an hour and a half to go. So.
Yeah, it was one amazing recovery drive from yourself, and I know it's not going to be as good as getting that championship, but I mean, the best you could honestly do. I mean, Skeppy was almost in a league of his own out there, and you getting another podium and one fighting back, like you said, had all those problems and being almost 11th and 12th at one point with that much long in the race. Did you actually ever expect to get that podium at all?
No, I mean, I thought at the best I'd maybe get like 5th at best, but obviously, my collisions with deer, obviously that wasn't the greatest. I'm not going to get into that too much. But I thought at that point, okay, I locked 4th, but I was catching Aiden. But then he pitted. I guess he didn't put enough fuel in. And then I was P3. I was like, well, that was unexpected. So, I mean, I'm happy with P3 after that mess of a race. But like I told Skeppy, I needed a miracle to happen if I even wanted a chance to at that championship in this race. So, and that Skeppy was, congrats to him by the way, but yeah, I mean, he was in a league of his own, so I just needed a miracle to happen, or he had problems or something, but he had nothing. So.
Yep, like you said, it wasn't necessarily all that you wanted, but it was what you got, and it was what you did a great job recovering from. So congratulations on your P2, not only in the race, but in the championship, P3 in the race, and P2 in the championship. It was one great season for yourself.
And I'm happy with it, but obviously everyone wants the championship, but I can definitely look back on a few rounds and say, well, this could have happened and this could have been different or whatever. So really, I'm not going to say I'm not the only one. Skeppy had bad luck as well. The last, like, I'd say 4 rounds. So we both had about the same luck. So I'm not even going to say who had worse.
All right, next, please get back to you.
Mr. In a league of his own. Mr. I'm not good at Imola, I'm not too confident around here.
Sorry?
You've won the race by 40 plus seconds. And you've won the championship, your first championship, as a matter of fact. How are you feeling right now?
Like I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling happy, but at the same time, like there was a lot of circumstances that made this race not what I ultimately wanted it to be. Like with John starting P2, the whole goal was 2 hours of absolute crazy bonanza, like just great racing and just unfortunate circumstances, and it didn't end that way. But the first championship part, the last like 20 minutes, I've never been in that position before, ever, so my nerves were getting to me, so I made a couple mistakes, and I was like, oh shit. And then I realized that the gap was like everyone was just tired by the end of it, so even if I made like a huge mistake, there was still, I think the gap was like 42 at the end of the race, so I would have had to like spin, stall, start, spin, like do a bunch of crap just to mess it up. But you know, everybody put on a really good race. Ichigo, he was in like a league of his own the last 15 minutes. Like that dude, I told him like straight up, like, you can get P4, push it. So he did, and then, you know, a little bit of suspicious moves were going on, but that's fine. And
yeah, we saw you catch up to them, and we got to see you spectate that battle for 4th.
It was terrifying.
It was.
But even then, like Stolowski, John, Jug, like top fast guys, including Ichigo himself, like it was a great season. There was a lot of insane races. There was, you know, like everybody had some bad luck here or there. So it was like actually such a good season that came down to the wire. It could have been closer, made it a little more exciting, but you know, like John said, I'm not going to compare to who had the worst season, but it just came down to who could recuperate from the bad races the best. That's pretty much what it came down to.
Yeah, honestly, you both almost. I mean, if you look at all the stats, you two almost identical on finishes when you guys were up there. But it was the races where you guys were down the order, 8th, 5th, 6th. That's where the difference came from this season. And you pulled it out. It took a lot of hard work, and I got to see most of it. And I'd like to personally congratulate you on one hell of a season. And I just I can't believe it. I can't believe how
do you
close
think
that
I
got
feel?
at the end, bro.
I was
Go
actually
celebrate
one
tonight,
thing,
man.
Oh, for sure. Like the one thing too was that quali lap that I did, like that low 42. That was the fastest
Yeah.
I've ever been around this track.
I
And
was gonna say I thought you were running 43s.
actually, for the entire week, I could not even get into the 42s. Like a 43.0 was the absolute best, and that was like on rails, on the limit. And I guess just the track came together. It got to optimum, like just in time for quali. So the pace was there. And then I saw John, like, you know, he had a 42.9. I was like, I can get close. Like, that's fine. And then it was like a 42.4, and I was like, okay, little nervous. And me and Jug made a deal where we were both going to start from the back. But I guess Jug went a little AWOL, so he qualified up there. So it's like, well, now I got to put in my lap so I can not get absolutely like crop dusted by half the field, because I didn't know half the I've never raced the people
Yeah.
in the back. Like, it sounds really cocky, but I've never raced from like fifth on back. So it's like I don't know how they drive or where they brake or anything. It's when you race with people your pace, you're like, hey, I can brake here, and they can trust me not to hit them. So, but I'll quit talking. I can talk for an hour.
Yeah,
It's all you,
you
bro.
can thank Jug for that. Just kidding.
Unfortunately, Jug is not here with us at the moment. He died in the pit lane.
Yeah, he
don't know what happened.
underfueled, and he
Under fuel?
yeah, well, yeah, he underfueled,
Right.
I think, by like 10. And then
Oof.
I told him he could pit again, and he said the race was basically over at that point. He was tired of like racing on his own, or he thought he would be
Yeah.
racing on his own.
I mean, fair enough, but almost cost him third in the championship. If Stowe got the win today, it would have cost him that.
Yeah, the fight for
Um,
P3 in the championship was
Yeah,
actually
it was
just as crazy.
interesting. Yeah, it was crazy up and down the field for the championship. I'll talk. Actually, Catcher, if you would like to talk to our fourth place finisher today, it should go.
Yep. Make sure your audio is included, DXD, and we'll get with you. So, quite the up and down race. Talk about a roller coaster. Starting fourth and having a really good start, actually, I believe up to P3 at one point before, you know, a lot of the madness happened with Stowe and with his early pit, and Jug with his mistake on the exit of Peratella. You were actually looking pretty good, and then your battle with Aiden, and then with Cold. Both of you actually had a really, really strong pace, and then all of a sudden, the pit limiter. What happened up till there?
Yeah, I say it glitch, but really, I think my brain just committed suicide because I hardly even race on ACC anymore. I usually just do the practice session before the race, and then I just hop into quali. So I really don't go into the pit lanes that often. So my practice for the pit lane was the first pit stop, and I didn't realize the pit speed limiter was on, so I just turned it off and on. And I was halfway down the pit lane, and I was like, oh, well, that's going to be a drive-through. But it was a stop and go, so it was even worse. But after that, it was just the second stint. I had really good pace for some reason. I was matching Skeppy and the rest of the leaders, so that was good. I was just staying behind Skeppy for most of the second stint. And then Feta screwed up somewhere, and then the rush just came to me, honestly.
Yep, it I mean, it definitely came to you, but you had to deliver it yourself. Like you said, those pace during the second stint and some of the third stint. Skeppy actually said that earlier. He said you were on another level, especially through your, you were chasing down Deer Hunter by about, what, 6-7 seconds or so to that battle on the final lap. Let's actually walk you through that. It was quite the battle, and I bet
yes.
Skeppy had some popcorn.
He's probably terrified, shaking his pants.
That's what he said.
I'm not surprised.
So, do you possibly think that move, though, you made in Tosa would possibly be something that is sent to the stewards? Or what do you think on your perspective from that move?
Hell no. If Deer hadn't have moved onto the apex, we would have been fine, but he moved over when I was going for the dive. Honestly, I wouldn't have gone for the dive, but I thought it was the last lap. But the overlap with Skeppy had me confused, but I don't think it would be a penalty. I made a similar move on a Bentley in Donington, and it wasn't a penalty, and he kind of did the same thing, so I don't think it was a penalty. And it was just really good racing trying to pass Deer. I was doing so many different lines throughout the 5 laps to get past him. I was just happy to fight.
We saw that all from the booth, and I'm glad that you had some fun, because we had some fun up here. But I believe that is all it from you. Congrats on your P4, and what a recovery drive that was.
Ooh, shout out to Neymar for holding up Deer.
Yeah, Deer had some moments. I believe Deer was kind of fed up with getting punted. He got punted by John, and he got punted by Neymar, and then he was not having a fun day.
Yeah. Oh, congrats, Skeppy, by the way. Well deserved. Better than last season with your stupid Godzilla car.
Thank you. I'm bringing that back, by the way.
No.
Oh my fucking god, please don't. If you're bringing that back, I'm going back in the Ferrari.
It's gonna be like you and Neymar every week with
That's what it was last season.
The worst.
Skeppy was like, he told me, he's like, can you please get this guy off the same part of the track as me? I'm like, what do you want me to do? And then he followed him to F1. I'm like, okay, well, deal with it.
Oh no. That's gonna do it from us. Make sure you guys come back for season 3. I'm hoping we might be able to sneak out 2 tiers. We'll see what the owners think about that. We've got a lot of interest in this, so yeah, that's gonna do it for season 2. I hope to see you guys all in season 3 watching along. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be racing or commentating next season, but we'll see what happens with it. So we'll see you guys next time, and hopefully we'll have some F1 streams alongside the ACC soon as well. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See